I'm Yoshi Lomax, superstar attorney at law and fugitive.
So, you're the famous Yoshi Lomax.
Probably more infamous. I'm on the run from the federal government for crimes that I didn't commit.
Gentlemen, I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Sharon Starr. I'll be taking things from here.
Not to mention being on the hit list of at least 3 of Miami's major crime bosses.
I wanted to apologize in person for leaving so abruptly last night.
Welcome back.
That's Vladimir Kuznetsov, a Russian crime boss. He's been a suspect in over a dozen missing person cases.
I mean, I didn't get here to be this successful for doing things the American way.
I need a list of the jury for my case with Honshu.
Oh, really? What's that worth to you? Oh, my God, you're such a good...
Mr. Santana is to be released upon processing.
So what do you know about Sheldon Chisholm?
What do you want to know about him?
I really need to know if you're going to take my case. I don't have time to play, Miss Lomax.
Money is not a problem. You know anything about his case?
It's being handled by agents in my field office.
I've learned that in this game of life, in order to win,
Ready to dance?
you gotta play dirty. You might look at me and see a beautiful, confident, successful woman.
Congratulations, counselor. Yet another win.
But underneath, I'm flawed. I'm broken. And I'm scared. So I have no choice but to run until I can find a way to clear my name.
Miss Lomax is now considered a fugitive of the United States. Catching fugitives is my business, which makes her my suspect. You and your associates are relieved.
Look. She killed one of our own.
But I will not give up.
All right, people, listen up. Get a picture of Miss Lomax out there so the public knows what she looks like.
I will not give in.
Okay. People, we got a game plan. Let's break and execute.
I will not get caught.
Time to go hunt.
Real talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Dupree, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
It's Vicky Judy, Orange is the New Black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it live.
Hi, I'm Rita Parks. You are listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And nothing less. What's going on? I said it that time. I had to do it twice because I didn't hit mute. What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with the Director and the Jedi Council. I am the Director. We'll be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk is brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media. We broadcast live via the World Wide Web on YouTube via the IE Network or IE Network via YouTube.com. Also on Facebook, the IE Network, and on our Facebook page on Real Talk, and Twitter via Periscope, which I heard is going away for some reason sooner or later. I think they're trying to introduce something else new to it. I don't know, but they said Periscope will be going away. Okay, whatever. Thank you for joining us. It is now March 1st, and we it's kind of going kind of fast already. 2021. We're already in March. March is gonna be one of my favorite months. There's a lot going on in March. We have on March 5th, two things happen. Number one, my little baby girl turns 1. All right. Number two, Coming to America comes out. And then later on that month, we have the Justice League Snyder Cut. Finally, after all this time, we will get the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. Finally. I was a part of the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut crew. Some people called us crazy. They called us naive. They called us, there was a lot of names people were saying. A whole list of people was like, it's never going to happen. You people are crazy. If you think the Snyder Cut is going to ever happen, it doesn't even exist. That's what they were telling us. Tell you something. I am the director. Okay. I study directors. And Zack Snyder is one of the directors that I study. I knew there was a Snyder Cut. I knew it. As if I spoke to him myself. I knew there was a Snyder Cut. Because there's always people, look me right here, always a Snyder Cut. Period. Because Zack Snyder is that dude. He's the dude that, just like there will always be a QT cut, there'll always be a Tarantino cut. Always. Tarantino gets most of his cuts into the theater most of the time. But there's never not a Snyder cut. Zack Snyder is, famously chopped and screwed. I say he's famously chopped and screwed with his films, because he makes long films. That's what he does, but I mean, I'm from an era of the 80s, man. I'm from an era of 2.5 hour films was the standard. You know what I'm saying? My favorite film of all time is The Godfather. That was 3 hours. That's just what it was, man. You need time to tell a full story. That's what it is. Also, at the end to round out this beautiful, beautiful March, I'm going to put it out in the universe and say it's going to be a great March, because it looks like it is. To round it out, we have Godzilla versus Kong. All that stuff we can watch. We'll watch the Coming to America will premiere on Amazon Prime Friday. And like I said, the Snyder Cut, I believe it's like the 15th or something. It's the middle of the month. That's going to be on HBO Max. And also on HBO Max, we will have Godzilla versus Kong. So it's going to be a good month. Really, really good month. And like I said, the baby girl turns 1 year old on Friday as well. So gonna be good. So we got a good show today. We want to talk about, and we brought this up before, and I originally got the idea when I read an article about Lakeith Stanfield talking about, and he was playing in Judas and the Black Messiah. he played Judas, basically. His character, Bill O'Neill, was it O'Neill? I think his last name. He was, the traitor who infiltrated the Black Panthers for many years and betrayed the chairman, Fred Hampton. So Stansfield said in an interview that he had to get therapy to kind of get over doing this role because he really was kind of traumatized by it because he didn't want to do it. When he first got the call, he thought he was going to play Fred Hampton. Then he was told he had to play this guy. And he wasn't very, I mean, he was happy to be the lead. Let's not jump over the cliff here. He was the lead of the film. I'm sure he was happy about that. But how could he bring, as most actors do, or at least especially method actors, how are you going to present this character and feel good about doing it? And but he did a really good job, which we'll talk about also a little later, because we're going to talk about the Golden Globes, the winners and the snubs. Some people may think that he got snubbed, that he didn't get in there, but Daniel Kaluuya did win a Golden Globe for his portrayal of Fred Hampton. So, checks and balances, whatever. Before we even get into that, I'm gonna tell you right now, no Lovecraft Country? Really? Like nowhere? So, I mean, but it is what it is. I haven't really gotten into these in a while, unfortunately. I keep up with them. I used to sit and watch, like watching the award shows for me used to be like a thing. Like I'd have like my popcorn over here, my drinks over here, and I'd sit down and be like, yeah, let me watch this. And like watching the Oscars used to be a thing. I used to be like, when I was younger, I used to watch all the award shows. They've gotten so corny to me now, and like, but the Oscars, that was a thing for me. Like you couldn't even call me during the whole duration of the Oscars because I wanted to sit down and watch it. I barely watch any of them now. So, but we'll talk about that. We also, Chadwick Boseman did get an award for his portrayal in My Black Rain, and then he got it. He got it for that. His wife made a very touching speech. I mean, it was really good. It was really good. It was heartbreaking to know that this dude, like this is a dude that so many people loved, and just was a really good dude, apparently, because I didn't know him personally, but I mean, everybody who everyone gets that talk about how good of a dude a person is when they pass, but like, no, like this dude had that reputation before he passed. Everybody was talking about how good of a dude he is. So it was a big loss, Chadwick Boseman, the death of Chadwick Boseman to that old son of a bitch called cancer. But so that was a good speech. So I'm not gonna play it because I don't want YouTube getting on me about playing stuff, and they always want to try to flag us for. They get on our nerves, man. It's just like, come on, dude. Nobody's trying to make money off of it. We're just playing it to give you the effect. It's all good. So we also have some guests tonight, some actors on our panel to talk about the releasing these toxic or traumatic roles. So obviously you want to know how actors do it. Let's talk to some actors, right? So I got some actors on the panel for you guys. We have Miss Diana Durango. She's going to be joining us. She's a method actor. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because it's important to mention that because method actors do things differently. We'll say that than other actors. Not saying nothing else, but and also we have for you another actress or actor on the panel. Miss Alice Reyes will be with us. And if you don't know who Alice is, you see her every time this show starts, right before the show. You see her in the trailer for Playing Dirty. She plays she was in the beginning of the trailer. She plays a character called Adriana Santana. And she says, "So you're the famous Yoshi Lomax." The way she says it, that's her. That's what you hear her voice. She'll be with us tonight as well. In a few more minutes. And that's that, man. We got a good show lined up for you. Should be very interesting. We're gonna jump into it. And of course, I'm gonna bring in one half of my Jedi Council. My man Ralph is in the building. Ralph.
What's going on, everybody? What's
Good
going
evening,
on?
sir. Good evening. How are you?
Speaking of Zack Snyder, happy birthday. Speaking of Zack Snyder, happy birthday. He just passed, I think, a day or two ago. 55 years old, man. Hey, Zach, I got a question for you. Is there a director's cut of 300? Because I like to see it.
I'm sure it is.
I want to see the
can
Spartans kick
guarantee
some
you
more
that.
ass. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. But, yo, HBO, hook a brother up. Let's see it.
I can guarantee you there's a Snyder cut of 300. But see, 300 was done, so there's always I said there's always a Snyder cut, which is true. And I say that because there's always a director's cut when it comes to Snyder. But 300 was his cut. Like he did it. It was done the way he wanted it to be done. But I'm sure it was longer. I guarantee you.
I'm sure.
Guarantee.
We need more King Leonidas. We need more.
He's not into exactly. Zach's not into telling stories and like lickety split, He's just not with it, man. So that's definitely good. There's definitely a Snyder cut of that. And anything he does, there's a Snyder cut. So yeah, man. So we the Golden Globes, and we'll get more into it after we bring our guests on, because I know I have one of them here now. I'm waiting on the other one. She's backstage. I'm waiting on the other one to get backstage, and then we'll bring them both on, which would be cool. If not, then we'll bring them one on at a time. Doesn't matter. So shout out to the chat room, y'all. I didn't forget about y'all. Heavy hitters came through. What's up, Maddie? How you doing? Thank you for coming.
Maddie.
Joseph always holding down the chat room. Yeah, man. Everybody, let's go. Let's go. I want some interaction. I'm sure we'll get Jimmy Ace to pop up in here sooner or later. They usually come around midway through. They want to make sure I'm done talking, because I'm talking for the first 10-15 minutes, and they're like, all right, let's let Wes get his talking out the way. Then we'll come in and check everything out. They know I like to talk, man. That's why I got a talk radio show. I like to talk. So, anywho, and I do see my other guests backstage, which is great. We'll get ready to bring them on. So, releasing these roles, man. This is what we're going to talk about right now. Like I said, and I have a list of other people, of course, that has been through this same type of trauma. You know what I mean? It's really, sometimes it can be, depending on how you approach the role, it can be traumatizing. And for not just depending on the role too, because I've seen I've heard over the years, and it's not just like horror films or thrillers or even any of that. Some films, even like for instance, Bob Hoskins with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He said that whole ordeal of acting with nobody just kind of threw him off. He started talking to himself a lot. It sounds funny, but it's kind of messed up. But I'm just saying, even he said so. That's not even a horror film or nothing like that. But I mean, you got people like there's a lot of people that is in the horror films. Old girl, I
Yeah,
forget
like
her
Jenny
name.
Jason Lee. She never really got over a
Jason Leigh,
sight.
yeah. Jennifer
Never.
Carpenter talked about when she was in the Exorcist of Emily Rose, I think it was, or Emily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get our guest on so we can start talking about this stuff because I want to hear what they had to, what they have gone through, had to endure. Both of them really good actresses, and can't wait to continue work. I've worked with one already, and I'm gonna continue working with her, and then I can't wait to work with the other. So let's bring them on. We have, once again, like I said to you, everyone out there, welcome our two panelists for today. And this is like part one of this whole ordeal because I know I have a lot of actors that hit me up and was like, I want to do it. But we couldn't get everybody on one day. So, but welcome our panelists, Miss Diana Durango and Miss Alice Reys. Yeah.
Hello.
Sound effects. So I'm just going to make the effects myself.
Golf clap.
How you doing? Welcome, ladies. Welcome back.
How you doing? Are you doing good?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good.
I'm doing good.
Welcome back, Diana. Alice, I think this is your first time on the show.
Yay.
So welcome to you.
Welcome.
Yeah, of course.
Should I turn my camera on? I should turn it.
It is on.
It's on.
No.
Oh, you want to turn it
No.
landscape?
Yeah, I think it's better, right?
Yeah, sure. Whichever way you want to do it.
Oh, too tricky, so let's just leave it like this.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I keep seeing this. Ooh.
I'm sorry, I'm trying. I'm not good.
That's okay.
I'm upside down if I do it, and I don't know why.
Yeah. No, you good. You good.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna try it one last time.
Hey, go ahead. Do your thing.
Oh, there she goes.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah. He's a birdie. Sorry, guys. I'm so bad at this. Hi, Diana.
Hey.
Voila.
That's all right. You'll get
Hey,
better.
Ralph. How you doing, Ralph?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? How was the birthday? It looked like you.
Oh my God.
You had some fun. You had a blast.
We wished you happy birthday last show, so we're gonna do. Now we got you here. Happy belated birthday.
I love birthdays, so I always have a blast, even though the COVID situation sucks.
Yeah, but hey, man, you're blessed to have a birthday. You're blessed to have another birthday. That
is true.
Just say next year. Next year, I got to do it up for all the ones that I missed because of COVID. Do it up. Hey, Bora Bora.
That's what my daughter. That's what my daughter is, though. My daughter, her birthday is in April, and she's turning 31. And she, for her 30th birthday, obviously it was COVID, so she didn't do anything. And I'm like, COVID's still around, right? She's like, yeah, I know, but I'm going. Yo, my daughter is hilarious. She's the first person to be like, I hate flying. I'm like, I sure wouldn't know. I couldn't tell you hate flying because your ass you are a jet setter. Every time I don't see her, she lives literally 5 minutes away from me. Okay, I don't see her because she's always quarantining because she just came back from somewhere. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm quarantining. I'm like, oh my God, again, where'd you go? So it's like, so it's cool though. But yeah,
I like to fly. I need some recycled air and some the little wafer cookie that they give you instead of the meal. I need that about right now.
Yes.
The cramped seats where I'm sitting like this and
my God,
I need that about
crazy.
right.
No, it's all good. So yeah, so we'll get back right into the topic, ladies. So like we said, we're talking about these roles, these traumatic roles. Like I said, as an example, we all know about Heath Ledger, with the Joker and all that stuff. That's like an easy one to talk about. But like I said, there was other people that I've come through the years and looked up. What's that? Shelley Duvall from The Shining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Traumatized. Traumatized.
Yo, she don't even act no more. Like she stopped acting
He's
like
like,
years
forget
ago.
this, man.
Yeah, like that was crazy. Like, plus, not just traumatizing. It was taxing on her body. Period. Because she was literally, I think they said the take with the when she had the baseball bat in her hand, it went over. Literally, went over 100 takes, I think, or something like that. It was crazy.
Wow.
And it was like she's literally there for hours and days. And I think they shot because back then they took a long time to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
They shot for like months. It was long.
Yeah.
It was long. And she's just screaming all day. So it was just took a toll on her body. Period. That's one person. A couple other people.
I know. Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
Yeah,
From
Janet
Psycho.
Lee. Yeah,
Janet Lee. She said that Psycho scared her so much that she doesn't even shower with the shower curtain anymore. It's always, no matter where she's at, it's open. She's like, nope.
I remember that. Janet Lee said that. That is true. That's why I was very surprised to see her even cameo in Halloween H2O.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't because
I was a little surprised. I was just like, okay.
No, because it was her kid. Because that was her kid. If that was like Nightmare on Elm Street or something, then yeah. But since it was her kid, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But,
I really, I reached out to Felissa Rose again. I want to get her back on because not only did she play in Sleepaway Camp, but she also did other horror films. She kind of fell into the horror genre after the Sleepaway Camp. I'm gonna get her on maybe for like part 2 and see if or get her back on to see if she we never asked her about that, like, hey, because obviously sometimes it just becomes your thing, but you are the killer, right? You're going around killing people. So we'll start with Alice. I know you was telling me when we talked off the air, you were saying about a role in the past or a couple roles in the past. It's kind of like it's a little hard to play. Tell us about that, and then we'll go into some more.
And I actually, so after we talked, when I told you about those 2 characters that I had to release after, I remembered of another one that I did like before those 2. That was like crazy because it was like suburban legends, or how do you call suburban?
Like urban legends.
Urban, yeah.
Urban legends, yeah.
The Brazilian doesn't know. So the urban legends thing, and I did one back in Brazil like a while ago, and I was really young, and it was about this tale about this girl that shows up in a bathroom and something like that, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that after I shot that one, it was actually worse than the other 2 that we talked about because I was so scared of even going to the bathroom after. And I had to broke a mirror in one of the scenes, and about that thing that you break a mirror, you have all that superstition stuff, and I had that too, and I was thinking about that, so that one was really traumatic for me. Because I was young, and how your mind goes, and I didn't know how to release like characters. I didn't have that experience on me. So that one was actually more, I got more traumatized about it than the other 2, because on the other 2, I was a little older and I've learned other things with experience and all, that you learn how to release emotional, like strong emotional characters like that. But yeah, after those 2, so they were both, and this one that I just said was on TV, so it was for a TV show, so it was like 2-3 days filming, so it wasn't that much, but it got me like that because of all that I just said. But the other 2 was in theater. So in theater, when you do, and the shows were running, one of them was the Oscar Wilde one that I told you about. I was on that show for over a year. It ran for over a year, and then so releasing that one was complicated, just because I got so used to having to deal with that, with all those emotions that I had, because I died on stage every day. Wow. And I had to, and it was like it was really strong, and the way that it was supposed to be, because it was Oscar Wilde, so it's beautiful, it's all poetic and stuff, but at the same time, you know that even though it's poetic and it's supposed to be beautiful, we have to feel it every time. And doing it for over a year, feeling it like I'm freezing to death every day with all these crazy emotions that we have going on when you're doing it. So after doing that for over a year, it was crazy to not be doing it anymore. So when it was finally over, the show, like the week after, I got depressed, and I thought it was because of I was missing and all the work that I had for over a year. And then I started to actually work on the character that I was missing, and I understood that the feelings, the emotions that I was working on every day or 5 days a week, it was 5 or 4 nights, 4 days a week that I had to work on that. I was releasing actually other emotions that you carry with you. And then I stopped dealing with that, and everything got clumped, and I didn't know how to deal with everything that was happening other than being on stage, releasing personal stuff. Because as actors, she knows what I mean when I say that, we use our emotions to deal with whatever we have to do on stage or on camera or whatever you're doing. And sometimes you actually end up, how do you say that? How can I say it? When you have personal issues, you actually end up like resolving, like solving your
like
personal problems.
kind of like therapeutic type.
So having that for over a year, like dealing with so many emotions, I was actually releasing stuff that suddenly I stopped doing it, and I missed it in a different level, and I didn't know until I actually realized and worked and internalized it to understand what I was going through. So that was the first time that I had to release something, and I actually understood that I had to work on to release all the emotions that I had to deal with. So for the other one, it was actually easier because I knew I actually had to do something after. Because the first time I had no idea, and I was scared even to go to the bathroom. The second one, I didn't know, but I learned. And then on the third one, okay, now I know what I got to do. And if I don't, I might have some problems.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was something that it kept, like I learned after like experiencing all these situations and all these characters that I actually had to work on to release them.
Wow. That's very interesting that you had to really kind of just go through the process and because it was like, because the questions that people probably wonder, people who don't act, they probably wonder, not only most of the questions are always about preparation, right? But preparation, I mean, it's preparation and then the release of it is two different processes. So
and there's no manual on the release side.
No manual. There's no manual.
You have to get messed up, but we're not going to teach you how to get out of that. You can't.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, Diana, also I want to hear about your or at least one of your experiences. Now, I mentioned that you're a method actor, and method actors do things differently. Sometimes.
I mean, it's not, I don't think it's as glorified as what everybody thinks we do.
Yeah.
God bless Daniel Day-Lewis, that man's intense, but we don't go that far if we don't have to.
Yeah. No, he's very good. No,
Mr. Lincoln, what are you doing today? I don't know. No.
He may have to make a new name of type of acting for him.
I don't know.
But tell us about your one of your experiences that with the same.
So, by the way, I'm sorry if you hear my cat. I am so sorry. I apologize. He is meowing. Yeah.
He just wants a little attention. That's all.
Yeah, love. He's like, Mama, why are you doing that?
Yeah, he wants to get on camera. Hey.
There was There are a few. I mean, Rick Danford always gets me on his horror films, but I love working on them. But by that point, I've known how to get out of them. There was a character that I played, a cross-dressing woman, and I would kill the men as a man and then take my wig off and let them see that I was a woman. But it was because I was raped when I was younger, and I would take pieces of them with me, their teeth or their hair. And it was a project called Hit Women. And that stayed with me because that emotion stayed with me. That feeling of how to get there stayed with me. So as a method actor, you have your backstory, and I think you know that. You'd probably do that too, Alice, right? Like you have a backstory. You're understanding that there's this marriage between yourself and this character, but the more parallel that you are, I believe that the more trauma you can have, because that's a lot of resolution that you need to find within yourself. So coming out of that situation, I exhibited a lot of trauma after that. I was having issues sleeping. I was having issues letting go of the character. I was having flashbacks of memories that were not mine. They're my character's memories. Or trying to understand things while I'm sleeping, or waking up from a nightmare saying, oh my goodness gracious, I need to go over and I need to do this with so-and-so. We're like, Diana, that's not your life. So there was that. There was a trauma that I had though on a set where it wasn't even hard. It was something where I fell in love with somebody, and it was so real the way that we both were method acting together. That having to leave that relationship space after was traumatic to me, because I was in my mind leaving the love of my life, and I had to like let it go. And I remember listening to Linkin Park's song, what is it? Something about like letting go, waiting for the end to come. This is where I have to stand, or something like that. And I just remember listening to that over and over and over and crying over the death of that feeling. It's almost like crying over the death of a relationship. And then there was the Ophelia monologue I had to do, and that woman, you start to like rock, and your eyes get bigger, and you start to really go to that dark space, and it stays with you. I feel that the longer that you are on set, the more intense those scenes are. You're sleep deprived. Like there's a science to this. Like, yes, we're method actors, and yes, we have to like get into this place, and we have to calm our body down and really allow everything to soak in. And you're supposed to like open up your eyes and really and truly see around and touch and taste and see this imagined world. And it gets you to that place. I think that we induce trauma into ourselves as actors, almost like players do, right? But you don't see a concussion case with us. No.
Hey, y'all don't get injured.
Yeah. But when you're on set,
maybe not physically.
The set adds to the trauma, because you're repeating it over and over and over and over. And if you're on set against SAG rules for 26 hours straight, and you're doing it over and over, like Shelley Duvall, you're getting brainwashed into, wait, this is real. Oh my God, this is real life. This isn't going to stop. And your brain starts to really and truly take it in. It's a form of torture, but we're doing it to ourselves as actors. So, I mean, we are. And if you look at it, though, what we're doing every day on a psychoneurological scale is that we have something called an HPA axis. It's our hippocampus, our pituitary, and our amygdala. That makes the cortisol. So we start here with like a little bit of cortisol starting on our journey. But we spike that cortisol every day, and sometimes that baseline just doesn't come down. So by the time that we're out of our movie, our baseline here of cortisol, where we can chill out, it doesn't want to drop.
Doesn't want to drop down to the calm level.
So what happens is, like, Alice, do you ever do yoga when you're done with this? Okay. And it helps, right?
That's one of the main things that started helping when I discovered that I had to let go.
Yeah.
Meditation.
And that scientifically, if any actor out there wants to get this, and anybody that's traumatized wants to get this is it. Ready? And I wish that they told us this in acting school, right, Alice? Because they don't tell you to come out of it. Meditation, Tai Chi, yoga nidra, even karate because that lets that energy out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to think a lot. You get your base level down, and it helps you let go more, and it helps you calm down a little bit more. But that HPA axis, I mean, you could see it with actors, it stays up there. And that's the same type of stuff that you see with PTSD. It's the same stuff that you see with trauma, complex trauma. People that, you know, you look at them and you're hurting your brain. And these actors that go from one, and I've done it too, and I'm guilty of this, one project to the other project to the other project to stay active, to not think about the other stuff, all you're doing is running from yourself. You have to have that let go process to bring yourself down and really feel it, and not take, and God bless Heath Ledger, try not to take medication because that's not going to help you.
Yeah.
Try not to drink alcohol, try not to do drugs, try not to do anything to alter yourself except for your breathing. And that ironically is the hardest thing to do. And it was the hardest thing for me to do too, because God knows I'm Spanish, so I call myself loca sometimes. So like, this loca, that out.
I wanted to say I'm about to get all producers mad at me right now, but do you think that it's something that, especially depending on the roles, right, that when you do these films, do you think it's something that you may want to consider even putting into the budget to have a therapist or something like that, maybe sit with the actors, you know, afterwards? Now I know some people do that, depending, you know, some of them do that.
Nope. Ain't working. It's not working.
His headphones are traumatized.
There we go.
They are.
No, this is wireless too. Like, why the hell did it not keep going? But anyway.
See, that's that technology. See, I got the wire, no problem.
No, I got the wire plugged in, and then I pulled it out and just like whatever.
No.
Technology, people. Technology.
No, sometimes older is better. Sometimes that's
yeah, right. So what I was saying was, you know, some people, I'm not gonna say no one does it. Some people do, actually. Some producers do it, but
Patty Jenkins does it, by the way. Patty Jenkins. Patty did it with Charlize Theron in Monster, and I watched Charlize's dad. I believe the mom killed the dad. Something happened where the mom was trying to defend herself, and that movie really got Charlize really messed up. Patty would go to the corner and would calm her down after every set because she was, I mean, shaking. That was my first experience with method acting. They're like, "Oh, she's a method actor." I was like, "What's that?" That's
well, I mean, Charlize is wonderful, man.
Amazing.
Wonderful actress. But yeah, so I think that's something that should always be considered, you know, and I think it should have been considered a long time ago. You know, if you know you're going to be doing, because when I was doing, so I wrote this film called The Disciple, and we were going to do it at one time. It never got produced. The executive producer, you know, ran out of money, so we never did it. But that happens, right? Independent filmmaking. So, but anyhow, I had suggested that way back then, and this was back in like 2009 when we were first, you know, talking about it. And because the film itself, you know, was based on, you know, it had a serial killer in there, and you know, this type of deal. So the serial killer in there was called the Sodom Slasher, and the Sodom Slasher. So you can imagine what goes on with this whole situation. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was having night terrors when I wrote the film. I just wrote the film. I didn't even, obviously we never produced it, and I definitely wasn't acting in it, but I wrote the film just on the research. I did a lot of research on cults, right? Like the whole occult and all of this, because that's what this whole thing is based around. It's based in this little town, and you know, the whole town is basically part of this cult, right? That nobody, but obviously the main character doesn't realize that at first. When she digs and digs and digs, and she finds out that The whole town is part of this cult.
Yeah,
But anyway,
that sounds like a Stephen King movie right there.
well,
Little
that's my favorite.
town.
He's my favorite writer. So I'm just
Mhm.
like, all right, but when I wrote that film, I tell you, during the process of writing it, and even after the fact, I was having night terrors just from all of this. So I'm just like, I can imagine the performers that have to live it and really bring it and like Alice says, she did it for a whole year,
Yeah.
as in that character, dying and dying and dying every night or every other night on stage. You know what I mean? It's just that's got to be something. So here's the deal. We talked about. Let's get a little bit deeper into. I know you said you brought up yoga. Is that really what that's is that the thing? Is that how you got your thing?
There are scientific studies. So my professor is Dr. Stephanie Pilkey, and she has shown with another doctor, Dr. Vander Kolk, that yoga, meditation, breath work, everything that I mentioned, that will help. It's not the only thing to do. I mean, clearly you want to go over and you want to talk to somebody or like let it out or do a journal. Yeah. But that is always the first step to do it. You get people that are traumatized. And I don't know if you guys know what cognitive behavioral therapy is, right? It's talk therapy.
Yeah, it's talk therapy. Yeah.
Talk therapy has an effectiveness rate, I believe in like 67, 68% effectiveness rate. I don't want something like that because I'm usually in the 30-something% that it doesn't work because, again, I'm stuck with people that are traumatized. It doesn't work. But why? It's because they need to calm themselves down. Yeah. So that stuff, yoga, it has been proven to work. Trauma yoga, certified trauma yoga therapists, or not therapists, but trauma yoga teachers like myself, they specifically know how to guide you through some exercises to like release it in your body and also release it in your mind. So yeah.
What about this? So I give you an example. Like I remember LL Cool J when he starred in a film called In Too Deep, and he played this character. The character's name was God, actually, and but he was just real, like like this crime dude, right? He was like a kingpin, and he was, this was completely out of LL's element. That's why he wanted to do the role, right? And he said himself as well. He said, just trying to release the role. He said, I think he said he stayed in a hotel for like a week and a half or a week before he even went home. After the film was done, he said, I didn't want to bring that energy home to my family, right? Because he was just like, So, do you find how do you find, if you're in that situation, you did this role, the role stays with you, and I have another question about that anyway, but the role stays with you. Now, what about your loved ones that you have to face at some point? You know what I mean? And how do you did you find, let's maybe recall in your experience, did you find yourself kind of spilling it over to your loved ones at a time?
My mom's laughing right now, by the way.
Bryson, I could tell you some stories about
Mom got some stories, huh?
I got some stories. You got time? You got some coffee? I got time.
Mom answered that one for you. So, Alice?
Yeah, if my mom was here, she would be too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is...
Especially because my mom is a yoga instructor, so I grew up with her always telling me all that. Yeah. Because I was always so hyper. I'm also a dancer and a singer, so I was always doing something. Mm-hmm. And I used that as a way to escape out of any feelings that I would hold from all the emotions that I had to work with on stage. So I always use dance to release all that we do now release, and we know that we do it with meditation. I used all the movement and everything that I had before as resources because I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but my body knew what I needed. I needed to release that energy. So I would just go to a dance class or just go to rehearsal every day or just keep choreographing stuff just so I would release the energy that I was trapped in me so I wouldn't do it with my family or with my friends. My friends sometimes would, because my family was, family is always there for you. So they try to help even though that they don't know exactly what to do, but they are there to support. My friends would come to me and like, yo, you need calm down. So there's something wrong with you and it's not my fault. Stop doing this to us. So that's when I would realize that there was something wrong and I didn't notice before. Because you do use your people as whatever you can. You actually use whatever you can because you don't know that you're actually holding all that emotion and all that process that you work so hard because you said that, Wes, before. So we have the process of creating, the process of actually building those characters. And it's such a deep process that we go through all those layers. And it's like we are finding stuff that we don't even know so we can build those characters. And then after it's ready, we start messing with stuff that maybe we were not even ready to deal with it because we dig so deep to get into that character. And then when it's time to release, or even when it's like myself, when I had the ear of doing it over and over and accessing, like getting to those emotions every day, every other day, or you don't realize that you're getting into that state of mind that it's beginning to be your new reality because you have to live it. And that's one of the things that you learn through meditation, that meditation for manifestation and all those things. The more you say it and the more you act like something, that turns into your reality. So being actors and doing it all over again, even if it's for film or if you're filming or on stage, you're doing it over and over. So your brain and your subconscious mind start believing that new reality, and that starts to be your new reality for your mind. So you kind of get trapped into that because you outside you think that no, that's just my work. I'm an actor. I do. That's what I do. And you don't realize that your subconscious mind is actually believing what you're saying, and it's the contrast between knowing what's reality and what's not that sometimes it gets you crazy. And that's why we know all those stories of actors that don't get out of it and go through all those process that we know, because you do start to believe that what you're doing is real.
Do you think that is the so here's an actor question for both of you. Getting there, is that your goal as the actor when you're building the character? Is it your goal to get to that point where your brain and your mind actually believes what's going on, or are you trying to just tip an iceberg? I'm using you two as an example of how you guys you may have different answers, but the questions to both of you.
Go ahead. I'll go after you.
Go ahead.
So yes and no at the same time, because once you're there being the character, I believe that you have to believe what you're doing. And it's not only, okay, I'm playing this character right now. I'm one of those actors that actually, when I'm there, I'm not thinking or I'm not being someone else just playing a character. I know actors that they do it like that. And I admire it, because when I do it and I separate myself from the character, it doesn't feel real and it's not enough for me. Yeah. So I have to actually believe myself that I am that person for that certain period of time that I am playing that character. But that's also what's tricky about yes and no, because at the same time that I'm being that character, the second I'm not, you snap back to your reality. And so I believe that you have to build enough backstory for that character so you get to actually know how it would feel and think and respond to everything that's happening. So you get to that moment where you are the character that you're playing, but not in the subconscious level that you actually live as that character. You know, that's what's the difference for me. I don't know if I'm putting it in the right way. Like what I said that you ended up doing so many times that you subconscious believe that you are. That's not what we're looking for. We want to live. I want to live that character while I'm playing it, but not to the level that my brain is actually believing all that. It's just I want to have the character in me and be able to live it and to give life to it, but not to that level that I don't know who I am anymore.
You are.
I have a question. When you two ladies have
wait, Ralph. Let Diane answer the question,
I
and
really want to
then
hear
we
her.
come with yours. Let her answer that question, and then you come with yours.
So it's similar to what you said, Alice. My goal as a method actor is to calm my body down and to really utilize as much imagination as I can. And I usually start by closing my eyes and I see the entire world around me, and I could feel a cup in front of me, and I could smell everything. And then I open my eyes and it's there. And I could feel those feelings of my character. So I need every type of stimulus that I'm going to have to let my body keep the score of my character until everything stops. Now, to me, there are two things. It's like breath work, and it's also like that movie Inception, you know, the little top that he has. Well, I need something to go in, and I need to do something to go out. So I will go over and I will tell, if people try to get me out of it, I will look at them and I will say, "Don't talk to me." And I get very stern because I need to be there, and that I have to hold on to it. I will finish. I will go to the room, and I will go and I'll do my breath in and breath out.
Yeah.
And that breath, and you know this, girl, I feel you. Like, you get it. And it's at method acting, if done properly, it's like a breath. You can't hold on to your breath. You hold on to your breath, you're going to die. And you can't hold on to that state of thinking of meditating or that state of, okay, we're here. You eventually have to let it go. So that's where the breath work trains your mind to bring it in and let it go, to let it release. So I go to the room. I'm in that place. I am that person. I'll talk like this and I'll tell you to go waffle about and go F yourself. That's what I'm going to do. So I go into the room and I eventually come out. And I'm like, "Hi, I'm Diana Durango. Pleasure to meet you. Did you enjoy that?" And I need to do something to get back to who I am. But the goal is, as actors, or like it seems like Alice is the same way, you are cheating the audience if you are not going to bury yourself raw and really dig in there, because all you are then is a face. And we all know what the little faces do. And you're like, this is happy. This is sad. It's not real. And that's the reason why people go to theater, to see different renditions of theater, because you're never going to get the same character on stage. Because those really good actors, they're going to bring their authentic self and marry that with the reality of the character. You have to do in order to be what is really meant to be. You have to be true and believe it, but then at the same time, you have to have the emotional intelligence to let it go. And unfortunately, we don't have that now. I think that we had that way back in the day. I really do. But I don't think that we have it now.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm saying that's like, wow. Yeah, that's intense stuff, man. Because like I said, me personally, the only time I really, get into that zone is when I'm writing. You know what I mean? Because when you're writing, you're actually being, if you do it right, you're actually being all the characters. You know.
And you're naked though, Wes. Like that's the thing. If you don't write from your truth and you don't bury yourself raw, and that's why that affected you when you saw that script and you made that script. Because it doesn't make, like, you were just like us. It doesn't make you unsusceptible to it, right? You bury your soul. Whenever you bury your soul to anything and you get naked and you take that mask off, that emotional COVID COVID crap's gonna come over and it's gonna infect you.
Emotional COVID. Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. You bury your soul, something's gonna happen. You bury your soul, you might get whipped, but again, you might not. You might just get a really great sunburn and be like, I like toasty. So that's the other thing. I think when you come out of your character, a big tool, and tell me if Alice, if this is what you do as well. You always have to pay homage. It's like a religion. You pay homage to your character, and you tell your character, you know what? You weren't just something that I had to rape. I'm not going to rape you, take from you, and that's it. And I'm like, bye. I'm going to ghost you now. You came into my life. A producer, a director brought you into my life. God brought you into my life as a lesson. You brought me into my life because I was going to learn something from you as a character, and I was deep down inside there. Maybe I dissociated and I put you in a corner that I didn't like, and I regurgitated it out. But I feel so much better now. So you have to be able to see these characters, and it's a perception change. It's a pivot change.
Yeah.
The moment that you could say, it's not me letting go of something, it's a blessing that I'm allowing to become a part of me. I just need to get the wisdom and the insight to see how it made me a better person and a better actor and somebody that can make peace with something in my past that maybe I never had peace with.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's good. I'm gonna let Ralph ask his question, and then I'm gonna get
totally agree with everything that you just said.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to another question that I had, or actually a statement that I had, because when you talk about releasing characters, as when I'm writing characters, it's funny because now that I thought about it as you were talking, and I'm like, I never let go of my characters, like the ones that I made, and I'm just thinking about and I know it, how I know I don't, because I'm a type of writer that I may connect a previous character into a new film, because that's just how I am. You know what I mean? I never let go of my character.
It continues, yeah.
It continues at some point, because like once they're created and you give them life, you feel like, you know what I'm saying? You feel like you're doing them wrong by getting rid of them. You know what I mean? Even though they exist for that story, but if they're really, like, some of my characters that I've created in the years really stick with me for whatever reason, whether I'm just impressed with the character, I like the character personality, and I'm just like, this character just doesn't have enough, people haven't seen this character enough, so I bring it to another film. It may not even be, it may not even be about the character, but I'll bring he or she over to another film. Ralph, what was your question, Ralph? I just want you to get that.
What I wanted to ask is, when you have these really intense characters and actually you do let it go, when you get into your next role, do you drag any kind of the previous character's elements into what you're currently doing? Any of that raw emotion into this?
I don't think it's the character. I think it's the origin of where that character came from, because who we are and what we bring to the character is within our origin. So do I always bring out, sometimes when I have a villain, can I say the B word? Can I say bit?
That's fine.
Yes, you can say worse.
I get that ugly bitch out inside of me, and I'm like, oh hell no, you're not going to do that. But it's an easy place for me to go, and if it's easy for me to get there, of course I'm going to use it. I'm going to use that cheat sheet.
Yeah,
but I have to make sure it's authentic to the character. If it's something, I don't think I've ever used a character in the past. I might have used techniques that I've used with a character in the past, but not the character itself.
Alice?
Yeah, to me, I think that this actually goes for us as actors. And I was going to say that when you were talking about you with the characters that you create, you said that you keep like bringing them and taking them to the other projects. But I think that what happens is that it keeps evolving into visions that you have once you're building those characters. Like you learn through whatever step that you take. Like the first time you see that character and you do that story, and then when you go to the next project, that if you bring that character and if you do it again, you're doing it in a different level. You're doing with the actual next step of the character. And that's what's worked for me. If I have one character like I had in the past and I go on to my next project, I'm definitely gonna have, I definitely learned something with the other characters that I worked on that I'm gonna access to see what I can use on this new character. Because every time that you build a character, you learn something about yourself so you can actually live and give life to that person. So when I am in a character and I finally find and build that persona in me with my tools, I learned how I myself, Alice, would deal with the situations that that character is dealing if I was that character.
Right.
But that in a sort of way, it could be like what people call empathy. Like when you see yourself in someone else's situation and you learn how you would deal with that situation if you were that person. So it's complicated, but at the same time, it makes sense if you think, I am that person and I'm gonna live, I'm gonna go through this situation as if I was, but you're using what you have, your resources. So you discovering things about yourself to be put in that position. So I definitely use whatever buttons I access to build that character for my next and the next and the next. And that's how I think that actors are going to keep learning and keep growing as actors for the rest of our lives. Like it's never, we never, since I started acting long time ago, you always hear saying that actors never stop studying or never stop learning. Because every time that you build a new character, you're learning something about yourself so you can give life to that person. So yes, I do use the last character, but in a different way because it's a new experience that I'm living. Does it make sense? I get to complete.
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
You brought up a really great topic, and that was empathy. So acting helps teach empathy, by the way, and it's on a different note of trauma, but it helps people understand each other, and it's a great modality for therapy. And believe it or not, they actually use acting for autism. It's so hard for them to like connect and understand behavior, but when they can model or can act, it's almost like they leave themselves and they get into characters under things that they might not be able to understand a lot. And then one more thing is that, Alice, have you ever felt sometimes that, and you said it earlier, where when you were on set, you kind of released and you came to this place of resolution with something that you were going through, right? In that, do you sometimes also feel, because I've gone through this, where that place that you were tapping into, because it was resolved, you can't tap out of that well anymore, and it's a different type of tapping from that. So that also happens. So like that little well that you have, you might have just like been like, whoop, I had to come into Jesus moment right now, and I had a resolution within myself. And then you try to go back, you're like, but where's the water? I don't want to go anywhere. I was going to water in the water. It's not
Oh my God, yes.
else. Get that too, Ralph, where you're like, I can't go back. So yeah.
No, that's that's pretty funny. No, that's real interesting, man. I really love this conversation because I think it's going to I'm hoping that some actors watch this that may not practice any of your methods of trying to release and maybe try to do that, but yeah, me for on the writing side, I don't think I've ever really let go of any of my characters, which is so weird. It's like, sometimes I sound like such a weirdo when I talk about these characters, these people that I created, and just like, yo, man, you just because the whole process of creating them, giving them their personalities and things like that is just, and a lot of times I do create characters based on someone that I may have met or run into or seen, personally. And I usually take like elements from different people and then kind of whatever. But it all depends. It might be a character that I just create from scratch and say this is the type of person that I want to be. But yeah, it's I mean it's different from acting, that's for sure. But it does have its similarities.
But I had, sorry, you go, Diane.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask about this that you're talking. So I had this one director that I worked. It wasn't a traumatic like character or anything, but it was like a deep like experience as an actor for me that we were creating this character, and he wrote what we were playing, we were working on, and he was also directing. So on the process, I had all his vision and all whatever he used to build that character before he gave it to me. And then once we were done and I was actually doing it, he came to me one day and he was like, so this character that you're playing right now, it's nothing like what I saw when I created it. But it's everything that I needed to see and to be able to see the story that I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna ask, what I was gonna ask you is like you said that you never release any character, but the second that you see the character take life with the actor, isn't that the same kind of idea? Like you kind of let go because it's alive. It's like your creation, but it's alive, and you don't have the control of it anymore because it's someone else that's playing that character that you gave.
Character, right?
So maybe I don't know if that works as a releasing for you, but if you think about it, it might help.
No, it could. And I'll tell you what, in some cases it has. And in some cases it has not. Only because what I like to do working with actors, and you should know this, I like to, especially now, I like to have the actor input on the character. Once they're cast, I want your input because I want you to have stake in the character. I want you to really be, so we'll build that character together. I'll lay the foundation and then we'll brick by brick build it together, because once the character's committed, you committed to the role. So I'm committed to you. So at that point, let's do this together. Because in the past, I didn't do that. And I've gotten good performances out of actors, but it wasn't the way I first envisioned the character. But it was good. So I couldn't really say that, I couldn't change it because overall, no one is bigger than the project, right? So I'm not bigger than the project. So if that actor brings a different dynamic than what I imagined of the character, but it's good and it helps the film or the project, then you see what I'm saying? Because
thank God you do that, because just like how Alice was saying, like if you're not authentic, like the wall comes down and then you just look fake. Like they're like, no, it needs to be this way, and then you like stun yourself, and you're like,
no, because sometimes you guys deal with like what we're talking about. You guys deal with different roles and characters and processes, and sometimes you may have experienced something that we did not. So sometimes a writer may write a character that's right in your wheelhouse and didn't know it. So you're going to bring the dynamic to that character, and it's like, oh man, I didn't even look at it that way.
Yeah.
Oh man, she killed that. So then it's like, but that's not how I wrote the role, and that's not how I envisioned the role. So but it was awesome. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to mess this up, So that's what I mean by sometimes, that does happen. Sometimes it doesn't, as long as it's in a good way, and we're all good with the characters, it's some, and like I said, it's some just on a whole nother level, just some characters that I have created that I'm like, man, I love this character. Man, I think this character got done wrong, man. That he or she didn't get enough recognition in this film. I'm gonna bring them to this film. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done it before. Matter of fact, you're a part of one of the project. So in Playing Dirty, Alice, there's a character named, well, you know the character Stark, Deputy Marshal Stark, right?
Yes.
All right, so now
Yes.
Kiki Swenson is, shout out to Kiki Swenson. That's my partner. She created Playing Dirty. That's her creation, right? So when we sat down and started working out the script for it, because you know Kiki is a novelist. You know, she doesn't write scripts, and not at, well, she does now, but she didn't at the time. And we were working out the script, and I'm writing the script. So I'm like, listen, you know, we need to create this character. All right, so I'm trying to make it long story short. So in the script, as the story goes, you know, the main character is on the run at the end of the film or end of the book. The beginning of the script, she's on, you know, we switched it. She's on the run right away, right? So we're like, we got to give her, you know, a reason to be on the run. Who is she running from? You know, and we're like, okay, other than the mob, but it's like, who else is she at the law? Oh, so so I'm like, all right, I made this character, Deputy U.S. Marshal Stark, but that character is a hybrid, or no, not a hybrid, is a not a hybrid, but kind of like a result of a previous character that I had with the same name, Agent Stark. Right, so I did the Agent Stark thing in my very first film that I ever wrote. It was called Rebel, and it was and the agent in there was Agent Stark, which a little bit different. I changed some dynamics of the character, like gender. I changed that, and then I did a couple other things, but the soul of Agent Stark is still in Deputy Marshal Stark. You know,
that's awesome.
Because Agent Stark was a dope character, but he did not get a lot of run in Rebel because he wasn't the main character, but he was a good character. And I was like, yo, we're gonna bring Deputy, we're gonna make him Deputy Marshal Stark.
That's amazing.
And that's how this character came to me. So that's what I mean by, like, if I really enjoy a character, because you know they just become this person. I'm like, I probably, if you see me writing, I like, it's so weird. Like I got all this stuff. Like I gotta get into this whole thing. I gotta have shit running. It's like Twilight Zone's got to be playing on the TV, and it's like it's just so weird. Like I just.
So you have your method too, Wes.
That's my method. Twilight Zone. I don't even have the volume up. It's just Twilight Zone playing. That's it. And I've seen it so many times. It's just ridiculous. But and then I like to also create just like art. Well, I mean, I'm no artist, but
yes, you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not that type of artist. Yeah.
Okay.
But I like to create so like for instance, and I'll be going through this with you, Alice. So like the film we're currently working on, you know, probably before I do stuff that's usually done at the end of the film. I do it ahead of time because it inspires me. So I might have a photographer shoot you and make a poster. You see what I'm saying? Of the film. And usually that's something that's done last. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, you do that last because you don't need to be worrying about no poster right now. But that's how I am. You know what I mean? That's how I need to make that. So I can have that going. Or I'll talk to whoever's scoring it, or if I'm scoring it myself or whatever, and I'll play music while I'm writing, like score music. Like I have a whole my Amazon playlist is nothing but score music, and I'll just be listening to that while I'm writing. You know what I mean? 'Cause it just gets me. But anyway,
if you actually think about it, that's a kind of a meditation for you, because when we meditate, we just get our minds into that level that you're not actually thinking about it. You're just calm. You just calmed your mind down to the state that you're aware of things in a different way that you would normally. So if you use all that, if you use music, depending on the music, there's people that can meditate with like different types of music, not only the calm.
Yeah.
So maybe that's your type of preparation, and that's your method.
That's my method. I'm a method writer. That's my method. That's my method, man. But it's cool though. But
do you ever have you ever fallen in love? Two questions. Have you ever fallen in love with one of your people that you write? Mm-hmm. Not the actual person, but the character in that you're just like, oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Two, have you ever really hated somebody that you write to the point that when you see the actor playing the person, you're like, just get the hell away from me. Vete pa carajo. Like, just get away.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you just went in on it. All right. Okay. First question answer. Yes, most definitely. And I'll take it even further. It's like, so there's a few different Wes's, but there's two Wes people. All right. There's writer Wes and there's director Wes. Okay. So director Wes, definitely when the character is brought to life, or let me rewind. Writer Wes, yes, he will fall in love with a specific character, and you're like, and I have a character that I created. Once again, I created from my first film, Rebel. Right, there was a character named Keita, right, and she was this, she's like this badass fucking character, right?
You're blushing, Wes.
Yeah, I love her. I don't know how many times I've had about maybe about 4 different actresses play this character because I never found
the one,
right? So this character has been through at least 4 different actresses, right?
Wow.
She's also a character in my comic book. My comic book 7 to 7, which is based on my film series 7 to 7, which you can find on Amazon Prime. Shameless plug. But so Keita is this character that I took from Rebel, brought her over to my other project, 7 to 7, which became this comic book series. Because she's kind of like a superhero. She really is. She's like that badass. Like she's like a superhero badass. And
just putting this out there, this reminds me of Brad Pitt in Cool World. Remember that?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is. So I'm just like, yes. And then that's writer Wes, director Wes. Now, if I see the character portrayed right, I'm just like, I'm amazed. You know what I mean? And I do. And when you work with, like I said, I try to really, I have a relationship with my actors that I'm like, almost like, I love all of them. You know what I'm saying? Too, especially when we're working and they're doing it. It's just like for that it's not just for that project. You know what I mean? You just feel like that's why I always work with the same actors. That's why I always do that. And I think that's what Spike Lee. That's one thing that Spike Lee talked about one time too. He's like, without sounding creepy about it, it's like you almost fall in love with your actors. You know what I'm saying? That play your roles, and that's why you bring them back for the other roles, because not only are they reliable, not only that, but they're dependable. You know what I mean? But you know that they're going to deliver that role.
Bring their A game.
Yeah, to bring it all together, and it completes the whole process, right? So now you created this character that you love from the writing process or the writing phase, and now it's manifesting on screen, on camera. Well, actually, 3 processes. It manifests on camera, and then it manifests on screen during the editing process, which is editor Wes. Then editor Wes kicks in. That's when editor Wes. That's my worst time, because if I have an editor editing with me or for me, He's cutting out everything that I love.
You're like, but no, that needs to happen. No.
And he's like, no. When we did Playing Dirty, my partner, one of my other partners in there, Trouble, he was like, he edited with me, and he did some editing, and we were up. I don't know. It was probably like a 12-hour session. Like we was like, I'm like sleeping and he's editing. He's sleeping and I'm editing. It's like, but then I would get up and I swear I wanted to strangle this man in his sleep because I would get up and some shit would be missing that I did not want gone.
Snyder cut. What's wrong with you?
I was like, I'm like, dude, wake up. Yeah, what happened to the part with so and so? And he's like, nah, that shit's gone, man. And I'm just like, oh my god. So, but yeah, so it's like I die and be reborn and all over again because it's just like, But then when the end process comes, we're satisfied with it. But and I do look at a lot of stuff and I'm like, yeah, it didn't have to be there. But then sometimes I'm like, but it could have been, So. But yeah, but that was a good question. But yeah, that was my long answer to that.
But have you ever hated a character you write? And how do you deal with that? Because like looking at the guy that
one character. One character I created for the film The Disciple is a character. Well, there's one that I'm working on now called The Blue Wall, and it's this character. The antagonist is this crooked cop, and oh my god, this dude is so like, oh my goodness, I can't even.
The William O'Neill character.
Yeah, exactly. He is that way. Yeah, he's like the William O'Neill character. But he's just like this dude. But the thing is, and I'm currently, getting my master's for creative writing. One thing I found out that almost made me almost upset me that I have to go back and work on this character because there's certain things that I need to give him to humanize him because that makes the best villains.
I was going to ask you, what was the motive? Like, if he's a bad guy, there's always a layer to get them
the villain is always the best villains are the heroes in their own story.
The Joker. I mean, look at that.
All of them. Yeah, when you think about it, Thanos.
That's true.
The best villains believe they're doing the right thing. Or to them, it's for whatever reason is. It could be to protect their own. It could be to whatever.
There's always a reason. They always have a backstory.
Right. Yeah, Vader. There's a reason. So I had this dude and he was pretty evil, but his layers weren't there that should have been. So I had to go back and work on them. And reluctantly, because I was just like, I just wanted to keep hating them, But then the bad part is as I built the character, I'm not gonna say I started to like him, but I started to
empathize.
Empathize with him. Yeah, so I'm just like,
That is honestly what I think that happened to Stanfield with Judas and the Blood. Because what happens with the Freudian aspect to it is, I don't want to be that. It's that Nietzsche quote, right? If you stare long enough into the abyss stares long, becomes you or what have you.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be that man. Yeah. And as an actor, you have to empathize, even with the Eric Morris process, right? You have to become that person. You have to understand where they're coming from. There's survival, or Chubbuck also, like the survival. What's a survival mechanism there? So he had to empathize with this a-hole to go over and what he did. I mean, a man died. A man died. He was drugged and he was killed.
He was assassinated. Yep.
And as an actor, he had to say, you know what, screw that. I have to be here and I have to empathize with this character because what I'm doing is right.
Yeah.
That in itself is just, I couldn't imagine what that poor man went through.
Poor dude, man. Yeah. They said on that film that the scene where that leads up to where he has to, do the drug, where he drugs him or whatever, like that scene, he literally was, crying. He was just like Like he didn't want to do that scene, Um, and I'm just like, yo, this is intense, you know what I mean? But I kind of get where he's coming. But he did mention one thing he said was about the empathy part. He said he watched because you have this is now you're playing a real person, right? And you got this stuff you're studying of this real person. And he was looking at the video of basically of the confession of him saying what he did, and all the stuff. But it was that documentary that was released, some years like in the 80s or whatever, and or in the 90s. But he watched it and he was like, I didn't listen to his words. I paid attention to his actions and his emotions between the words.
Yeah.
He's like, and I saw there was remorse there. There was something there. And that's how he was able to bring it there because of the situation that the dude was in. He had to find that empathy. And it's like, yeah, there was some remorse there in between his words. Because the way his words had no remorse in them.
Yeah.
Like, I have no allegiance to the Black Panther Party. And like he was saying that type of thing. The words had no remorse to him, but in between the words,
he felt it.
He could see. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want, you know what I'm saying? He looked like he didn't want that. So that was it. So I guess maybe also just like how I just explained about empathizing with a character that I just didn't want to empathize with. It's kind of like the same thing.
You were mentioning the Snyder cut with the Justice League, and I didn't know the story behind it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that he had to leave because his kid died.
Yeah. Zack Snyder left the project because his daughter had she died. Yeah, she committed suicide actually, and then he left the project. Now the deal is, honestly, he left the project for that, but he didn't stay gone from the project because of that. Warner Brothers did some underhanded shit.
Yeah.
And basically kind of pushed him out.
We love you, Warner Brothers. We really do. We promise. We love you.
Yeah.
No, no, we don't.
No. He said no, we don't. Well, we
don't.
We tear Warner Brothers down here
because they keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
That's what tends to happen when you deal with these big companies, because they can do the, and then nobody says anything. But I really and truly think with this day and age, more people have a voice. More people traumatized to the point where, like, no more, we're not having this. Speaking of trauma, and hopefully those systems change. Hopefully, crossing my fingers.
So Alice, I'm gonna need you to start hashtag release the Clark cut of Playing Dirty. Because no, I'm joking. But
release the Clark cut.
Release the Clark cut. We're gonna tell that the trouble because he just cut, he snip.
Wow.
But to wrap all this up though, we thank of you you ladies for coming on and sharing your experiences with us, and with the the people that will watch this, the people that are watching this, and but as to kind of tie it up, what else did I say? So we talked about LL. There was someone else I wanted to mention too. I'll skip that. You guys, I just mentioned about Stansfield playing a real person. Have either one of you ever played I'm gonna say a real person, but like a person, an actual person, like for a bio
story
project or anything? Yeah, like a biopic or anything. And if not, the second part of that question is, would you like to? And the third part of that question is, who would you like to?
I don't think I've done it.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
Yeah. Like Christmas plays playing the Virgin Mary. I haven't.
That's as close as you got. Okay, cool. What about so now you got a bio that now say they're casting a biopic. Who is your dream character, if at all? Maybe
wow.
play nobody who's real.
Why didn't you tell us you were going to ask us this before you put it on the show?
Wow, that's so fucked up. I'm sorry, Kate. I have, wow, let me see. I don't know.
I always wanted, I really and truly, I'm not going to lie to you, I always wanted to do a biblical film or something of that type of nature, like some type of historical type of female empowering film. Because you really, and the only reason I would want to do that, some type of like, even like Mary Magdalene, but in a different story. Like there's that movie Magdalene that came out.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I would want to pay an homage to the voices of women in history that went unheard, because history is his story. No offense, guys. I don't know, but there's no distinct woman, I would say. I mean, it shows. I would love to be on The Queen. That's like an amazing show.
Yeah.
Wow,
So maybe we'll use that too. Is there any particular project running right now that you'd like to maybe jump on and be like, yeah, I'd like to be in that show?
Yeah, that could be good.
So many amazing questions and so tricky at the same time because I have no idea right now. Of course there is. But it's so hard.
I mean, I can tell you as you know, from a writer or a director standpoint, like I've always wanted to, not now because it's pretty much ended, but I always wanted to direct an episode of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like I've always thought, that's someone, that. As funny as it sounds, we always tear Warner Brothers down here, but I wouldn't mind writing for Warner Brothers because I could correct a lot of things that they get wrong.
You're fixing it. Yes, I love that.
So because I love, it's not even that I love Warner Brothers. It's more so on the comics. So this is when the nerd comic book side of me comes out, and it's more on that side of things. So with DC Comics, the DC Extended Universe, stuff like that, that Warner Brothers just gets a lot of things wrong with that when it comes to those things, and I would love to be able to try to get in there and whatever. But so I mean. Yeah, those are shows. And then other than most of the other shows, but honestly, it's great. As many great shows there are right now. It's not a lot that I feel that way about, to be honest with you. I just like to enjoy them and watch them. But most of the shows that I wanted to write for don't even exist anymore. Like Twilight Zone and stuff. Well, there's a new version of Twilight Zone, but like
I would want to be on Golden Girl. Just one episode of Golden Girl. I would want to rock that. I would want Sophia to tell me her little Sicily story, Blanche to talk to me about her slut stuff, Rose to be completely stupid, and Dorothy to tell me that I'm not a loser for not going out on a Friday night and having no boyfriend. So thank you.
Wow.
That's great.
I always wanted to be Storm.
That house, by the way, just putting that out there, they sold the Golden Girl house, which made me
Hey, you know what? There could be a reboot. They're trying to reboot everything else.
They're gonna reboot everything, right? Alice, what did you say you wanted to? What show did you say?
I always wanted to be Storm.
Storm? Oh yeah, yeah. That's what's up. Everybody loves that character. I mean, that character actually hasn't really been done justice yet. As much as I love
exactly
Halle Berry,
what I think.
right? As much as I love Halle Berry, as much as and the other girl that they had playing her. I mean, she wasn't terrible, but she wasn't great either. And
who was the new one? You're talking about the new one?
Yeah.
I don't see it. I just don't see it. Haley, I saw on Halle Berry.
Alexandra Shipp.
She was amazing. But the new girl, I just don't see it. And it's not because of her. I think it's the way they casted it. And the film that I would love to be in is the Black Panther 2. But the actual true character, like to play someone, I have no idea. I'm gonna get back to you on that.
You can get back to me on that. You can send it up to me. We'll put it on the website.
Here we go.
You know what I mean?
Flashdance too. I told you.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Alice just like Jennifer Beals.
I was expecting a dance film from Alice. I really was. I was expecting
Honey 3 something like that. Flashdance.
No, I saw that. What is the one that Andra Day got the Golden Globe yesterday, Billie
Oh,
Holiday, right?
Billie Holiday.
And
Yeah.
I saw that she was playing. I was like, oh my God, someone is doing it. Like, there's a few roles that when I see that someone or the film is coming out, I'm like, oh, okay, someone already did. But maybe there will be a next one. But yeah, so Storm is one that when I was little, I always wanted to be Storm. So I grew up wanting to be her. And then Black Panther, when it came out and I went to the theater, I was like, why am I not in this?
Just say not yet. That's the ticket.
Yeah,
Not
why
yet.
in this yet?
Not yet.
Right.
Manifest it, and it will come to you.
There's many
That's
more
what
to
I'm doing
come,
it right
and
now.
yeah,
So the
there's
next
many more
one,
to
I'm
come.
in.
I still feel that somebody should, and I don't think I've ever. Well, they're out there, but Paula Coelho came out with an amazing book about the Matahari, and it was about her version of this love story. Nobody's done anything on this woman. I mean, that's a fascinating story about the Matahari.
Yeah.
Why hasn't anybody done anything? She's just such a great, tragic figure, and she's also
so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of historical figures that I kind of. It's funny, like I like to create, and it's not that that's not creating; it's recreating. So that's cool, but I was never really. There's really nobody's story that I want to retell. I just.
This is a question. If we, Alice, if we could get casted as men, would that change anything for you? And what, or who would you be? I really want to be cast as a man. I would love to
cast as a
have, like, have a voiceover, or have
What
somebody.
would you want to be?
I don't know. But there's so many. George Washington, Caligula.
Oh wow!
Caligula.
That's an interesting one. That came out of left field. Okay, Caligula.
That's awesome, actually. Freaking love it.
That's pretty awesome.
Hey, if Dustin Hoffman can I don't think he was over. If Dustin Hoffman can play a convincing woman, then you could play a convincing man.
I mean, Glenn Close did it in Hook, because I didn't even know that was her in the beginning of that.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, Glenn
that
Close,
was pretty cool.
I was like, I would want to go over and be a man. I think that that's going to be my thing. I'm going to own it. I would want to play a man. And
I love that.
I look like a woman man. No. I want the sexy version of a man.
I've done it on stage. Like, I've done it on theater. I was a boy. But that was a while ago. And today would be awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Somebody remake Tootsie. Somebody remake Tootsie. That's the vehicle right there.
Jesus, I'm okay doing that.
I'm trying to remember. There was a film. I don't remember the name of the film though. There was a film where the girl played.
Well, you had Yentl.
It was probably but this film I'm thinking about, I think it was a comedy though. I think it was a comedy. I was.
So that's the question. Why is it that a woman to become a man has to be funny?
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I think it was a comedy.
Yentl isn't funny at all. Yentl is
Yentl's not. And you always have Mulan.
Mulan.
But they always have to explain this is a woman becoming a man. To go over and have us there and say, I'm a man and I'm gonna own it. And you have
to. So you just mean you want to be cast
as a
man character.
That's even more amazing than what I understood.
Okay, so it's not that you want to play. You don't want to play a character that becomes a man in the film.
Yeah.
You want to be cast as a male character.
So you really want to be Han. You really want to be Han Solo.
I would want to be Hannibal Lecter. I think.
Yes.
Oh my God! Talk about traumatized. You're gonna have to do a lot of yoga. You got a lot of yoga to do. How you gonna be Hannibal?
Would the trauma be different? And would we as actors allow ourselves to go somewhere different than we would as a woman in a
I'm about to I don't want to change the whole dynamic here, but if you are cast as a man, okay. How I'm gonna say how, but okay, I'm gonna just say it. for you to play a man,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how I'm anxious to see that. I'm anxious how you would play them, because are you playing the male based on how you view males, or are you playing the male really based on being a male? I mean, obviously you're not a male, but
So that would be the thing, right? How is it? So as a method actor, I would have to go into it with how it is to be a male. I would have to understand
you'd have to understand
what it's like to be a male within myself. And then that's where the dissociation comes into play, because then I would be fighting within myself. Let's say I have a male itch or something like that. I'd be fighting against this contention of stereotype. So I'd have to, I have to let that go.
I honestly think, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is just my opinion.
Say it, preach.
I honestly think you would have to get all of the makeup and become the male first.
Yeah.
And walk in the
around a little bit.
shoes.
Well, but that's a beautiful process.
And walk around in those shoes
as a man.
As a man. Because certain things, and I truly feel that should be, it's the other way around too.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get it. Because, like, you know, very, very simple. Male, you know, some males, not all males, but some males, just certain things that they experience, just like they don't experience things that you women experience on a daily basis. You women, especially attractive women, you may hear somebody hitting on you 100 times a day. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using that as an example, right? Where males don't always get that, right? So, you know, some do, some don't.
Lucky,
you know what I mean?
lucky them.
Yeah, yeah, lucky them. He's like, but that's not what we're
see
thinking.
that right there. That's a matter. That is a matter
thinking.
of perspective.
That's
it is not a matter of perspective. If it's lucky or not. Because if you're not like myself, I don't. You know,
because we're thinking. Jeez.
Exactly. The fact that you don't know what it is.
We're thinking that's the type of problems we would like. You see what I'm saying?
So there's that moment where Dustin Hoffman said, "I want you to make me a woman," and they did a great job. And he goes, "No. I want you to make me a pretty woman." And they're like, "That's what you're going to look like as a pretty woman." And he completely like broke, because he said, "That's when I realized this wasn't just a film anymore. I realized that this, like, I realized what women have to go through."
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a pretty woman for some odd reason. And he goes, it hit me. So the thing is this, and I feel bad admitting this. I said, right, I would want to be a man. But I am not doing service to the male population, because imagine how many different avenues of men there are in order to have this male, you know, this real male. Like, there's so many different kinds of men out there, right? Would I want to be a pretty man? Would I be an attractive man? Would I be a man that, you know, those filters where you can like see what you'd look like as a man? I looked at
I never used those filters. I'd never done any of those. I hate those things. I mean,
I look like my brother.
They are.
I look exactly like my brother.
They're entertaining. They're entertaining, but I never did one of them because I don't really care to know what I look like as a female. So I just
really good. Justin Bieber, I'm like, you put me to shame, child. Like,
Justin
what the
Bieber
hell?
Already kind of looks like a female. Oh, sorry. Let me bring that back. Shout out to Justin Bieber.
You can't knock the Bieber, or can
the Bieber.
I was never a fan of Justin Bieber. No way. I mean,
no, yeah, right, exactly. But no, I get what you're saying.
Only because he's not my generation.
Pretty dudes out there, you know, it's all that. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. Maybe that's something that you should explore.
You have a really good male role out there, bud, and you like.
You know what? That I could see Alice playing. Since we were talking about, I could actually see her playing maybe Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, because that incorporates some of the things that she does, singing, dancing, all that stuff. So I could see that, Beach Boys,
But
I don't know Diana that much. I gotta think about, who.
I like that, but I would still prefer to be Hannibal Lecter.
See, wait,
I don't know. That's a character that I would like to study and to actually actually understand what it is, because that's one of the characters.
I'm gonna tell you this, right?
Strongest characters I've seen. What?
There is a book out there where there is a female version of Hannibal Lecter. It's called Heartsick by an author named Chelsea Kane. If you can find it, it's about because I read it and it blew me away. It's about this guy who's like this cop and this he's kind of like a drunk. His marriage is failing, and he's investigating some serial murders. So the police brings in this psychologist, this woman named Gretchen Palmer, right? And turns out that even though the police brought her in to work the murders, she's the one committing the murders.
Wow.
Right. So the end of the book, she reveals herself to the cop whose name is Archie. She tortures him, makes love to him, cuts him up, and he can't get her out of his mind. He can't do it. Because part of the book is him later in life where he's still suffering. His marriage in shambles because he keeps thinking about Gretchen Palmer. Right. I read this book and it blew me away. I was at a Comic-Con one year and I ran into Trisha Helfer, right, that played Six in Battlestar Galactica, and I was telling her about. I said, "That's the role you should play. That's your Oscar role right there." She said, "Why?" I said, "Read the book," because I just had this vision of her, like some of the mannerisms that Gretchen is written in the book is her, right? Alice, go get it. It's called Heartsick by Chelsea
Definitely getting it tomorrow, baby.
Read it.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah,
serious.
I gotta check that out.
I know Chelsea because I keep in touch with Chelsea Kane online. I know they were trying to make a TV show out of it, but it never really works out. It doesn't need it needs to be a movie. It is the female version of Hannibal Lecter, and it's deeper because even though Lecter, well, at least in Silence of the Lambs, you see him, he's already in jail. This one, she's working with the cops to try to find the killer, but she's the killer, so she's throwing the cops off. It's kind of it's kind of like Dexter. I mean,
it's kind of like Dexter. Yeah, well, I think that y'all definitely get that out. I think what y'all mentioned about becoming a male, that would be a great social experiment, like a TV show. Because Ice Cube actually executive produced a TV show one time called Black and White. And I don't know if anyone remembers this. This was in the early 2000s when it came out, I think, where they took a white family and turned them black. And they took a black family and turned them white. It was a social experiment. And they went out and lived lives for like a month.
Yeah.
As black and white.
Wow.
Right.
What it was like.
It's the name of the show. So it was a great experience. So I'd like to do a show like that. I think like that would be a good show. Me saying, listen to me saying I'd like to do a show like that. I'd like to at least see a show like that.
I have a black cat too.
That's a big cat.
Oh, he came to say hi.
Oh my God.
That's a big cat.
Yeah. You sure that ain't a panther? That's not a panther.
Jack.
That's not a panther cub.
This is my Black Panther, yeah.
Wow.
That's a panther cub, man.
And so Diana, now that I'm thinking about it, I know what guy you could play because I watch it. You should play Vince McMahon.
The guy from what is it?
WWF? Yeah,
WWF.
Because you know why? Because I'm sitting here because I'm sitting here and I'm watching like your mannerisms and how you're moving your hands and talking. A lot of times what Vince does when he talks. And it might give you a chance. I mean, certainly being a man, but now you're a man. You're a powerful guy.
You're a powerful man.
You got people at your whim. You're built. You're muscular. You're physically strong. You're an older guy. And you can go toe to toe with some young. It might be an Oscar.
That might be an Oscar for you. We'll see how it is. But anyhow, I'm gonna let you ladies go. I definitely appreciate you joining us and spending so much time with us tonight. This was a great panel. I'm hoping to do a part 2 because I know other people has hit me up, but you two definitely. What do you guys got anything coming up? I already know what you got coming up, Alice. So but I know you work on other things. I try not to lock down my actors. I reluctantly share you with the rest of the
wow.
Appreciate it.
The rest of those stupid directors.
Oh wow.
But Anybody got anything coming up that you want to share or no?
There are 2 projects in the fall, and there are some directors that are coming down to Florida because they just don't want to deal with anymore. I'm excited about that. There's some stuff that I discussed with you, so I'm really, really stoked about that out of my mind. But aside from that, we have school, baby. So we have the school, la escuela.
Yeah, me too.
So we're doing that and balancing and teetering between the acting, the advocacy.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to really put together a documentary that I'm wanting to do on breast implant illness.
Okay.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Pretty. So yeah, I'm really do that.
Okay.
But aside from that, nothing, man. It's just like trying to live in this society where
in this whole new world, right? The way
Yeah.
things are going.
trying to heal the nation, man. That's what we're trying to do. And ironically, we can do that with our acting and with our movies. We can actually heal.
Exactly.
And you've been working.
Amen.
You've been working, Alice. I know that.
Well,
you see me getting jealous because she's not working with me right
no,
this
but that's
moment?
not nothing compared to what we're cooking. So,
Here you go.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
but with COVID, the COVID situation is like I've been working on some stuff that it's not close to being out yet. So no, there's a no to talk about it. But all the things that I've been working are small things that you go here and there just because you still have to pay your bills, even though you cannot work. And I'm glad that now the industry is slowly, baby steps, going back with all the COVID restrictions and everything. There's already like a few productions that are back, so we get to at least have the feel that we're going to be back to actually executing our craft and working with what we are here to do and try to actually help with all this, giving a little bit of our gift and what we can to help.
Yeah.
But I don't have any projects to talk about it, right?
Well, I'm looking at both of y'all. I'm like, yeah, but y'all both gonna have projects with me very soon to talk about.
But then when you're ready to talk about, I'll be ready to.
Oh yeah, I'll be talking about it. You know that. That's what's up. So, all right, cool. I mean, either way, y'all, thank you so much for joining us, man. And I'll always come back whenever we up here every Monday. We're kicking it. We talking movies. So whenever y'all want to come and talk about some movies, just jump on, check the show out. And even if you're just checking it out and you just watch it and you be like, you know what? I want to say something. Just hit me up and I'll send you the link. I'm like, come on, jump on the panel right now. So
I love it.
I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you for joining
us.
So much. Thank you.
Night.
Y'all have a good one.
Later.
Ciao.
Bye.
Au revoir.
She's like, yeah. So there they go. That's them.
They want to play. Wow.
They want to play men. That's interesting. Like I said, and I love the the thought process that they're doing. At least they're thinking about, okay, I don't just want to play men. I don't just want to play a man. I really want to walk in the man's shoes and play the man. Because I honestly feel like, and I said I tried to say that without sounding like an asshole about it. I was like, you literally have to already. You got to wear it and walk around in it.
Same way when
like what they did in Black and White.
Women. You got it the same way they went with guys that play women. I would imagine that Eddie Murphy and Dustin Hoffman and even Curtis and Lemon, when they played women, they got dressed up and walked around, even if it was just around the lot or something, to experience what it's like to be a female. I mean, if you're an actor, that's part of your homework. And I'm quite sure if anybody did it with Robin Williams, if anybody did it, it was him.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they did, but yeah, I saw Jimmy Ace was in the building. Shout out to Jimmy Ace. Y'all catch his the Bench Warmer podcast, Sports and Stuff, every Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
right here on the
Joseph.
IE network.
Joseph, I know it's WWE now, but it's always going to be WWF
It's
to me.
always been WWF to me. You know, when you first started
always
with
going to
the
be
World
there.
Wrestling Federation, you know, they only did that because of the stupid
Wildlife
branding problem that he had a wildlife branding problem. They should have always been the WWF, but it's all good. You know, when they even changed the WWE, it took me years to actually call them the WWE. It took me years.
I
So
still call it WWF. It's never going to change. Sorry.
yeah, it's not gonna change for me. But yeah, that was some real intense stuff, man. We talk about
That was
because
a good show.
both of them are really intense actors, and they really go through, you know, to really get that character and bring it to life. So I appreciate them sharing their methods because being able to release that energy is the main thing we were talking about tonight. You know what I mean? And they said yoga, you know, Diane, who was like, I think she's like a psych major or something in college. So, you know, I think she was really bringing that, saying that it's scientifically proven as far as like yoga and meditation when it comes to, you know, releasing that bad energy or whatever that energy is that you created yourself when you win this role, you know, when you and as a filmmaker, as a director and a writer, you have to appreciate actors that go through all of this. I mean, you know, some of the people like, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, look at what he went through when he did The Revenant.
Yeah.
You know,
Because he said, I want my Oscar.
he got
That was
sick.
all
He
because of
literally got
Oscar.
sick behind it. He got sick. He was eating like, you know, he had to eat raw liver and all this stuff, you know, so a lot of that stuff, and they shooting in those you know, those conditions, you know, they go through a lot now. They definitely go through a lot. And that's the physical aspect. That's not even the mental aspect of it. So you sometimes you have just mental trauma, then you may have mental trauma from physical trauma that you had. Some of them have the battle scars to prove it. You know what I'm saying? I think the young lady, I forget her name, she actually passed away a few years ago. But the woman who was the main character in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one who
I don't
survived it,
remember her name.
I forget her name. But I was reading about her, and she talked about how, you know, she was, you know, obviously traumatized and some of the physical things that she went through. She literally, her hand got got sliced, like for real in the film, you know, got sliced. It so like, and you know, they were doing things. She was doing things in that film, like, you know, being in that room with, you know, everything smelling like raw, you know, rotten meat and all this other stuff smell and this, that, and the other. Yeah, it was just really intense.
I know Linda Blair. She has said
You went
that
through some trauma too.
at that one. But the only reason I know that one is because I don't know if you ever saw this movie that she did called the comedy called Repossessed with her and Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah,
Where
that
she
was a parody type
It
thing.
was a parody, but I remember when that came out, she was on Entertainment Night. She was like, you know, I really didn't want to do this because I just felt that it was too close to the Exodus. But they assured her that it was a comedic effect. But she said there's some scenes. She's like, wait a minute, guys, we're going over the line here. We're
Yeah.
going back into this. So they really had to keep it really tongue in cheek with her so that
Yeah.
she would be wrong. I mean, I like Repossessed. You know, it's
Yeah,
clearly
it was fun.
not, but it's clearly not the Exorcist, but it is the Exorcist to a large degree. Some of the things that's in the movie, you know. But I mean, I can imagine horror movies. I mean, and not for nothing. You know what's one of the best pictures, not movies, pictures I saw was when the last Halloween came out, and it's a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Mhm.
And Jamie Lee Curtis
The
is
one when she's laying in the grass with
no, not that one. It's a
okay.
picture that she posted of her hugging Laurie Strode. Laurie
Oh,
Strode is crying in her arms, right? And it's in black and white. And I saw that picture and I was like, damn, because the imagery, like, you have this fictional character
yeah,
that's
yeah.
rested in the arms of the woman that played her, and she can't, and she's like, I'm
Oh
so
yeah, they did that.
traumatized.
Yeah, they did that. They were doing a series of those pictures, which was really cool.
Yeah.
They did it with Rocky and Stallone. You had
Yeah.
like Stallone and his character of Rocky. And then they did a series of that with celebrities of their younger self and their
Yeah,
self today.
the older self.
Yeah, that was cool too. I thought that was a very whoever came up with that concept, it was brilliant to do that. So I think it may have started with the celebrities and then they moved on to the actors and the roles that their famous roles. And Linda Blair also had trauma, not just from playing the role. She caught a lot of trauma from, like radical Christians and stuff like that came at her neck, man. They came at her neck behind that.
Yeah, remember, she was just a little
She was
girl.
13 years. What was she?
13 years
13
old. 13 years old.
So she didn't realize what was, and that's why I said the other woman. Let me see if I can find her name. I had it over here before. From the Halloween as well, the young girl from Halloween who played young Lindsay in Halloween. Her name is Kylie Richards. All right, she played young Lindsay in the first Halloween, and she talked about how she didn't. She said on set it didn't really resonate with her because things are different when you're shooting it on set, especially her being a little kid. She didn't really realize what it was. She was like, but when she watched it in the theater, she said she couldn't sleep for years, not weeks, years. She actually said she slept. She said she slept in the bed with her mother until she was 15 years old after seeing the result of Halloween, the film that she was in. And obviously she had a couple of really scary scenes because she had scenes with Michael Myers in it where he's, chasing that scene where direct scene where he grabs up Jamie Lee or whatever, or right there when he's behind her. So they had kind of, but she said actually filming, she said, I don't know why, but it just didn't, I wasn't scared then. You know what I mean? It was just like, okay, I'm doing my job and I'm doing this.
I can see why, because I mean you're doing the movie, and think about it. You're even though something horrific is going on in front of the camera, there's a whole bunch of people around you, so you're safe. You know it's fake blood. But then when you see the end result, it's now you're just seeing what the camera saw. You add the movie and
the
creaks
music,
and noise and music,
the sound design,
it scares the hell out of you.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, I remember that brings me back to when I was teaching film. I remember one time we did this little, not experiment, but I demonstrated the importance of sound design and score, because what I did was I played a scene from Halloween with no music, with no sound, right? Even though you're scared, but when you play it with no sound, it's not scary.
Nope.
It's not scary. And the images are the images, but it's not scary. Even the part where they showed him, when the dude starts swinging from the closet, Bob, when he's swinging from the closet after, when she finds him and all that stuff, that scene played with no sound, not scary at all, really. You know what I'm saying? So that's the importance of sound. So when you see all of that stuff together, you're like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah, that traumatized her, man. She did not. She said she slept with her mother till she was 15 years old. And slept in the bed with her mother behind all of that. So
I'm probably thinking that Jodie Foster was probably traumatized, and not by Silence Lands, but really by the accused. That rape scene where she gets gang raped in that bar. I'm sure that had to mess her brain up big time. Not only that, but that was really the first. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the first movie she had made after what's his name? Hinckley tried to assassinate Reagan. So you had that on your brain. Now you got this. I mean that had to be something like, whoa, to be dealing with at that time.
From another angle, Heather Donahue from the Blair Witch Project, she also said, because remember, they did not know what they were even going into when they went into the woods. Like they did not tell them on purpose what was going to happen. They knew certain cues were going to happen, but they didn't know when those cues were going to happen, and they didn't know what those cues were. So when Heather, when they were in the tents one night, and then next thing you know, it starts shaking and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, and they get out and start running. Like that was real. Like they really didn't know what the hell they were running from, but they just took off running because, and it was just like it was crazy. And she said also what traumatizes is kind of because you had to go along with the whole ruse, right? So it's like these people thought when the Blair Witch Project was first presented to people who may have not seen it or may not knew at the time, maybe they saw it later in life and didn't know the impact behind it when it first came out. It was presented as a real thing. It was really the beginning of the found footage style of filmmaking. And they made it where they had a whole thing with the website and a whole special on HBO.
I remember that.
Right,
They
they
had the
made it
posters
seem
saying
like
like
we
one
were,
like missing.
missing posters. So when you watch the Blair Witch Project, you're like, oh, who played Heather Donahue? Then you're like, oh, wait a minute, Heather Donahue. This was really them. So they're saying like, oh, these people really went into the woods. They got, we don't know what happened to them. They're missing, and we found their footage and we put it together and pieced this film together. So it's like, holy crap! And for months after the film came out, these people couldn't come out. They couldn't reveal themselves.
Nope. They had to
So
go and
that was
hide it.
traumatizing. Like people actually, she said actually her obituary was printed in the paper. So can you imagine you being an actor? She said right here, she said, my obituary was published when I was 24. It's a complicated thing to be dead when you're still very much alive and eager to make a name for yourself. Remember, they're new actors at this point, and they took on this role. It was very, you got to give them some credit to be able to do that, because to be able to keep that, stay out of sight and keep that quiet long enough to surprise everybody. And then they finally revealed themselves, I think at like the MTV Awards or something like that. They finally came out. It's like, oh, it's right. And a lot of people, some people were actually upset because they were like, what? It's fake. But yeah, that's what happened. So, that's traumatizing in itself. Imagine, seeing you see your reading your own obituary.
Not even that, but
obituary
think about that one. You got to go into they put this plan. You got to go into hiding.
Yeah.
Think about your mama. Like
Yeah.
and she's walking in to Walmart to get some milk, and she gets the cart, and you're on the back and say missing, and she cold calling you, and it says the number you have dialed is no. You're like, yo, what that? And you emails, no text messages, nothing, and they have no way of knowing that you're really missing. Like, damn.
Yeah, it's something. So, big up to all the actors that really they put it on the line for these roles, man. And I got to give them credit. I mean, and some of them don't make it back, just like Heath Ledger. He never made it back. Meaning, yeah, he didn't just so whatever, but it is all connected to playing that role of the Joker. The medication, he died of an accidental overdose of medication. But this was medication that he was prescribed to him as a result of how he was after this role. He didn't sleep. He didn't get a lot of sleep on top of that. And he didn't sleep really. He said he may have slept like 3 hours out of the day or less than that. He'd go to days without any sleep. So some of them don't make it back. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but I definitely give them credit. So let's, before we end the show, let's go over go over the Golden Globes real quick. I mentioned them earlier in the show. I did not watch the Golden Globes. Did you watch the Golden Globes, man?
I was at work. I
Yeah,
didn't miss
I
nothing.
didn't.
I wasn't
I
really interested.
me neither.
And,
Me
and
neither. I
I'm gonna be
wasn't really.
honest with you. Even when it comes, I know the Oscars is coming up in April.
Yeah.
I'm not really that interested in this, and I hate to say that. I'm not even that interested in the Oscars. Because the Oscars reward movies, and yes, we've had movies on streaming, but I guess in this one you can say it's not the same. It's not the same as you went to a theater and you saw the movie on the big screen and you experienced it all. It just, at least for this year. I mean, I know why they're doing it, because they like, well, we still got it. Basically saying we still got to praise Hollywood, even though Hollywood was technically off for a year. But
Yeah.
I'm just not that interested in
I
any
mean,
award show this
I'm
year.
not. I'm not. I'm. It's been that way for me for a while. I still watch the Oscars. I think I watched it last year and year before. But what I'll do is this: we're not gonna go through every winner. I'm just gonna go through some highlights that I think is highlightable. Number one, obviously Chadwick Boseman winning Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
And he's probably gonna
He
win an Oscar.
he
From what I'm
may
hearing,
he may
he,
win the Oscar for that. His wife gave a very touching acceptance speech, accepting the award for him. It was very nice. Heartfelt, tears, stuff like that. But so that was cool to see. What else? Daniel Kaluuya won best performance by an actor in a supporting role in any motion picture, which was for Judas and the Black Messiah, where he played Fred Hampton. So that was cool. Um, I wasn't surprised. I thought he did a good job. I wasn't sure. This was a nice one that I saw. Best original score and best animated picture went to Soul.
yeah, I saw that one. I mean, I saw that one probably coming
Mm-hmm.
for animated picture. The score I didn't see coming, because once again we haven't had that many animated movies this year. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, last year we really didn't. So Soul came out, and then you had maybe Onward. But beyond those two, what else you got? I mean, the
Yeah,
Cruise, the
right.
Cruise too.
You got so best television series, musical or comedy went to Schitt's Creek, which is so funny because it's so fun to say that name. I think that is the most brilliant name in television in a long time. Schitt's Creek. It's just I just thought that's so, and obviously it's spelled Schitt, but I mean it's brilliant.
Yeah,
It's a
you can say that on
brilliant
TV and not
name
get beeped.
and not get beeped. It's brilliant.
We're going to Schitt's Creek.
We're going up Shit's Creek. Yeah. Um, the Queen's Gambit won best limited series, anthology series, or emotional. They crack me up with the way all of these things that they kind of characterize all of these best limited series. Then they may call it and they're all the same thing. People, mind you, people, a limited series, a mini series, stuff like that. They're all the same thing. They're just different names for the same thing. Is there anything else? Schitt's Creek won a few things. Anything else stuck out? Well, snub I thought was a snub was I was surprised not to see anything, but I mean I think we'll see. I think we will see them in the Emmys, but I'm
Still,
surprised to see
Lovecraft
no
Country,
Lovecraft
nothing,
Country, no
zero.
Lovecraft Country, nothing, not even a nomination, right? At
I'm
all.
I'm sorry, that is just wrong.
Yeah,
Certainly, Journey is deserving of a Best Actress, and the gentleman that plays the lead, and Michael K. Williamson, the three of them, all of
yeah,
them, all deserve
they're
a
all
Best
playing.
a
They're all
nominee.
doing it, man.
Yeah.
Um, excuse me, the acting in that film, I mean that show, that series, is really exceptional. You know, um, it's exceptional acting by a lot of the actors in that series. You know, even the one who plays the sister, the one who kept changing into a white woman and stuff like that. It's like I thought her performance was exceptional too,
Even
especially
the
as
one
the
that
show
turned that
went
kept
on.
turning into the black woman that turned into the white woman. I
That's
was
what I was
like,
talking about. That's what I was
yeah,
talking
her.
about. The sister, yeah. Yep, she played Journey Smollett's character's sister. And yeah, her. She was, her character really, as the series went on, just got better. Her character got better. I didn't know at first. I just saw her as a character that just might be like a secondary character that doesn't have much to do or say, but her character got better as the series went on. Yeah, it was very well written. Not only well written because it also is a period piece, which is not easy to write. And during that period piece, they found a way to educate people on history, Black history. All right, during the show, that's one thing that's the same. They pulled off pretty much the same thing that Watchmen did. Like Watchmen pulled off a way of storytelling and giving you some American and African American Black history, whatever you want to call it, and the real ugly truth about American history, especially when it comes to Black people. Because whenever you bring up, that's why I was surprised. I wasn't surprised. I was but I was surprised that Watchmen won as much awards as it did, because they were raw with it. They was letting you know, especially when they showed that stuff with Black Wall Street, all the stuff that happened, and then the massacre, basically the massacre in Tulsa, which they actually covered in Lovecraft Country as well. They covered that as well in there when they went back in time to that point where all that stuff was happening. That's like the same thing that was happening. This is stuff that really happened in our history. The stuff that they don't really want you to know about. The fact that all of those white men, burnt down and shot and killed all of those Black people, burnt down their businesses just because they were prospering and they were on the come up and they were making money and they were, what I'm saying? And they were living okay, actually, in that area on their own. It wasn't in no one else's area, territory, whatever. They decided we're going to burn it down. And they burnt down. And you're talking about Black owned businesses, banks, doctors' offices, and all types of stuff. A doctor, which they covered in Lovecraft Country, one of the most prominent doctors in the country, especially Africa, my Black doctor, shot in the face, shot him in the face. And that scene where Michael K. Williams was talking about it was a very intense scene where he was kind of like breaking down everything that happened, because he lived, his character lived it. So I thought they were gonna do, but they'll probably make up for it in the Emmys. I think that's what's gonna happen.
But that's the thing. If they didn't do it now, right, then we still live in, at least for this, in the monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. So if the Golden Globes didn't acknowledge them, will the Emmys acknowledge them?
Yeah, I think they will, because the Golden Globes kind acknowledges every platform, whereas the Emmys is focused on television. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So they will get acknowledged. And I believe, I'm gonna predict that they'll get several good. Wait, did we have the Emmys already? Oh no, not for this year. Right?
No, we haven't.
I believe that
Wait a
they
minute, wait a
will.
minute.
No, we did, didn't we? I
Yeah,
don't
we did
remember.
because Zendaya won. But yeah, and I
Zendaya won for the. It was at
yeah.
the
So
prime
then
time
I
Emmys.
don't
Yeah,
think
yeah. No, I think
yeah
they
that's
did win
prime.
something at the Emmys. I'm gonna have to look it up now because I think Lovecraft Country did win at the Emmys. So let me just see. I think they did win at the Emmys. So see. They did. If not, then maybe this year they will. Emmys, HBO stuns record setter. Netflix lead all winners. Lovecraft Country, SAG Awards history in the making. So they had won SAG Awards as well. Yeah, so maybe they did then. 'Cause it says here. Yeah, I think they definitely did win something. Winners by program. This is a
But I
stupid
mean,
but
but I
yeah.
do think that is definitely a rob. I mean, that's the only show I can sit there and say is a rob. Is
Yeah.
Lovecraft
As
Country.
a snub. Yeah, yeah.
And that's a
Yeah,
big snub.
yeah, that's a big snub. I think they did win, so I'm not sure, but either way, if they didn't win at the last Emmys, maybe they didn't win, was it finishing time or something? I don't know, but they will get something probably this time around. But anyhow, it's all to the good, man. It's that was a snub. Other than that, I don't really, I'm not really too I don't really fancy these award shows anymore. None of
No.
them, and that's that. Especially the music ones, I've been done with. I've been done
Oh
with
man,
all of the music ones.
don't even
The
get me brought up
Grammys,
with
the
the
American
Grammys.
Music Awards, all that. I'm done with that garbage.
Nah,
All of
I
them.
used I, and I used to like the Grammys, the American Music Awards, and even the MTV Music Awards. I used to look forward
Yeah.
to them every year. But the way
Yeah.
music is going today, I'm
Oh
like,
my goodness. Yeah. Don't even
no,
get me started.
no. Unless
Don't
unless
even get me started.
unless when the commercial comes out and they say, Lifetime Achievement Awards, and it says Janet Jackson or the Rolling Stones, where I'm gonna get like an old school performance, then yeah, that makes me. But it only makes me interested for that one piece.
Mhm.
The actual award show and the artists they put, I don't want to see none of them fools on the stage. Honestly,
Mhm.
no,
Okay. So
it ain't a disrespect. I'm just saying
yeah,
the
I'm
music of
just
today
going
doesn't
to.
move me.
No, it doesn't. I want to add here. I'm looking at the Lovecraft Country Wikipedia, and it says 2021 Golden Globe Awards Best Television Series Drama. So it was nominated. It was nominated, didn't win. It was nominated. It says here Golden Globe Awards. Honor in the Best American Television
Well, we're
2020, as well in film 2020 and early 2021. Actually, it says February 28th. It took place on February 28th. So it was just updated. So Best TV Series Drama, it was nominated Lovecraft Country. So and it was also nominated for. Oh no, that was it. Was just that on the Golden Globes. So there you have it. The what you call it awards, the Emmys have not happened yet. It says I'm looking here. Let's see. Golden Globes, SNAACP, that's the SAG Awards, Writers Guild Awards, Critics' Choice Awards. Yeah, I don't see where's the Emmys. I don't see that in here either. So I don't know. But
well, I'm looking at the Emmys. It says
so maybe they
all right.
didn't.
So the Emmys, last Emmys was July 28th, 2020. So we won't
Mhm.
get another one until this year, 2021. So Lovecraft Country came out after the Emmys were already in the process about to come on the air. So they should be
Okay.
announced
So
for next year, whereas the Golden Globes were already done. So that's why it was
yeah.
put to Golden Globes.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that they'll be in this year's
Yeah,
Emmys
they should be in
probably.
this year. Then there should be a lot of them.
It should be a lot of them. It should be, especially they should get because now the Emmys is just like, the Oscars for television. So you're gonna get, effects, sound design, like you're gonna get all of that, all of those different categories, possibly, including obviously the main categories, story, written, acting, directing, stuff like that. So I'm going to take a very, very, very long shot educated guess. I'm going to say that Lovecraft Country will be nominated for, I'm going to say 8, 7 Emmys.
No, I'm thinking like 15.
15?
Yeah, once you start throwing in all the technical stuff,
Yeah, all the
special
technical
effects,
stuff. Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
around 15.
15. So if we throw in the technical stuff, I'm not gonna say your number's 15, so I won't say 15. I'm gonna say 12. It might be low, but I'm gonna say 12 nominations. Because you start throwing in the other stuff, because you got screenplay, story, you got
Score.
score, you got sound design,
Costumes,
wardrobe, makeup, special effects. And for television, they had some damn good effects in that show.
Yeah.
I mean, television's on a new level now, though. I mean, even though it's HBO, because HBO has to keep that bar now. They set the bar with Game of Thrones. You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
They set the bar as far as cinematic, the cinematic feel with Game of Thrones.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think HBO set the bar really with The Sopranos. I think everything after The Sopranos, it had to be because Sex and the City is before The
Or better.
Sopranos.
Yeah,
It had to be better.
Yeah.
Sex and the City was good, but Sopranos just came out of nowhere. People were like, "Yo."
Sopranos was so real. It felt so real.
Right.
Sopranos felt so real. But what I meant also was with Game of Thrones was a fantasy, style that was just,
it just
done
got
so well. It feels like a film. Like every episode felt like a miniature film, and it didn't suffer with effects. You see what I'm saying? Like some of the shows you see, like let's just say on the CW, whatever, they some pretty good effects, but like they're not the same as like in a film. You know what I mean? Whereas Game of Thrones was like, there's freaking dragons, dude. Like they didn't do it all the time, but they did it a lot.
When they did it, it was like, whoa. And I think that's why when they did the TV adaptation of the Golden Compass, I think that's why it didn't work, because you already had the Golden Compass movie, and now you're making the series. But the series, I don't honestly know if the series was better than the movie. But I think if there was not a Golden Compass movie, that would have been the next Game of Thrones. That would have been it. So in that essence, but I think HBO, out of all the paid channels, just the cable channels, they are the ones that once they set that bar, and you think about everybody else that was making original shows had, like, really, without The Sopranos, we would not have Power.
Yeah, no,
You wouldn't have Dexter or what's the other show that Ray Donovan. You wouldn't have none of that stuff.
By the way, Ray Donovan, they're working on a film for Ray Donovan, which should be very interesting. Ray Donovan film. Are you there for it? Are you there for it?
I mean, I saw Ray Donovan. I saw a couple episodes. I never really got hooked into Ray Donovan. I never like Ray Donovan and Dexter. I never really got hooked into. I did like Shame. I love Shameless.
Somebody was telling me about this show. I never got into the show. I saw like a couple episodes of it. I never got, but I know it's a really good show.
Me neither. But every time a new season came on, right, when I had Showtime, they would rerun, like about a month before the new season started. They would rerun the series from episode 1 to the last one. And I started watching it one time. Like every day they would have like a marathon of the entire season. So for 6, like whatever days, they would just run all the episodes. And man, the Gallaghers. I mean, we've all seen poor white trash on television, like Roseanne. You ain't never
Yes,
seen nothing like the
nah, you
Gallaghers.
ain't
I mean,
seen nothing like
Fiona,
them, yeah.
Fiona has to be, and I don't think I'm wrong. She's probably one with sexuality. She's probably one of the loosest characters in all television.
Yeah,
she really, really, truly is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so much new. I mean, you got her and you got Frank, who got to be one of the best characters ever because he just don't give a damn. He
Yeah,
drinks, he smokes crack, he has sex, he
yeah,
runs scams, he kills people, he does all this crazy crap. And
yep,
all the Gallaghers are all somewhat mental. You know,
yep,
you had the oldest son who's really a genius, but he's like unmotivated. You got the middle son who's a closet who at first is a closet gay man that comes out. You got the youngest son who's prone to violence. You got the daughter that's just trying to come up normal and she gets hooked into all this stuff. Then you got the little kid who's black, right?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like he looks
It's a
like I
wild,
don't even want
it's
to
a
know you.
wild, it's a wild show. But
Liam.
I think ultimately so we have this as our reference, but I'm gonna write it down. So you got Lovecraft getting 15
15. I say about
nominations
15 now.
for Emmys. I'm going with 12. 12 nominations for Emmys, and hopefully they do get 15. How many do you think they'll win? So let's just say you're right, they get 15 nominations. How many
I'm
do
gonna say
you
about
think
half.
they'll win?
Half. I'll say about 7. They'll
About
actually
7.
win. Certainly the makeup and technical stuff, yes. But when the two, Journey Smollett needs to win. Michael Williams needs to win. And what the guy that plays the lead,
Yeah, I forget his name, but
no.
yeah, that gentleman.
But with him, the only thing I'm gonna say is it depends on who else is in that category if he wins, because now it's best drama. So I don't know with Jonathan Major. I don't know if he
Major,
wins.
yeah.
He certainly deserves to be nominated, yes.
Right.
But
And he's gonna get
Smollett and
nominated. I don't
Williams
know if he's gonna win, but Smollett, I think,
and Williams.
should win. Yeah, Michael K. Williams, yeah, I think so too. Because he's very intense actor too.
But I said if Michael wins, he's going to win for that scene when they go back in time, and he's looking at himself at the beginning of his attraction to men. That
Yeah.
scene alone is what he's going to win for, because it's like,
Yeah.
damn, you're looking at yourself, and he has the chance to go over there and stop it from happening, but you got that in your brain. You can't mess up what happened in the past. It's got to flow the way it's going to flow. So
Yeah.
even though I want to go stop it, I can't stop it.
Yeah.
But it would change me. But it would change you as a kid, but it changes you as an adult now.
Oh, as well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was and that's a nod to the writing as well. That's a nod to the writing. I definitely think it's going to win in some sort of writing category, and I think it's definitely going to win. I think it's going to win best. It may win. I don't know if it's going to win best show.
See, because I
what
would think they
category
would say it's a limited series, so yeah,
it's a limited series. So if they put it in a series like that, put it like that, limited series, yeah, it's going to win.
It's going to win.
It's going.
That's what I said. I think 7 is going.
That sounds fair.
I think Watchmen won more,
yeah.
But as far as a lead acting category, the only person that won was Regina King. I think in this one you got at least 4 that definitely.
Yeah. Watchmen didn't have as many like main characters as this. You know what I mean? Right. Regina King was pretty. Her and Yahya, is that his name? Yeah, Mateen. What's his name?
Those two.
Yeah, they were the 2 main people in that, but she was more, she had more screen time because she was really like the main character, and she did a hell of a job. She actually did something that I wasn't sure what she was going to do with that role, and she killed it because I'm a fan. Like I said, I'm a Zack Snyder fan, so Watchmen is I liked Watchmen. Let me rephrase that. I loved Watchmen, the film. So I was like, wow, what type of
I know, because that's I was like, oh, so they're gonna. When I heard, I was like, oh, look like that. I was like, oh, so they're remaking the signing. Dumbass Warner Brothers. Little did, and I guess I can't get Warner Brothers, but little did I know that you guys would produce such a damn good series.
Oh
I
my
gotta
goodness.
give. I have to give you credit
They
for
cooked it
that.
there. They did the
came with
right
your
thing.
A
But
game.
I have to say though, I do have to say this. Whoever is on the television side of Warner Brothers
got it going on.
Yeah, they got it going on because they always, not always, but more times than none, they produce really good television series.
Yeah.
As well as animated series, because
Yeah.
animated television, with DC stuff like that, their animated movies. I always say that those writers should be coming over to the live action movie.
Like, yo, guys, could we get some tips, some hints,
Something.
something?
Please sit down, and y'all need to sit down, and now because it's COVID, y'all should have a Zoom meeting with these guys and be like, yo, what's your secret? Like,
Because some of these HBO series, I mean, the last 5 years, I mean, certainly Game of Thrones. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I know it had a huge following. That series, Girls, huge following. Lovecraft, Watchmen. So for every what was it? Dark Frontier that came out. Yeah, you had a bomb. And let's not forget, Warner Brothers also is more than HBO. It's also Cinemax. Yo, Warrior. If you guys ain't seen Warrior, whoo.
Yeah, Warner Brothers Television, and that's where I actually applied for a Warner Brothers Television workshop. Fingers crossed if I get in it. I applied for the television workshop. Which basically, if you get into that workshop, you can actually, it's an intense 9 weeks of working with Warner Brothers Television, people. So. Anywho, that's pretty much all I got for that. I think next week what we'll do is we'll finally get into our we'll talk about our list of films that made you cry.
You know what? I'm writing this blog post because I just said that for the show I'm gonna do 5, but I really needed more, so I put 30. I got to take one of the movies that I have in there out, which is The Godfather. I put the scene in there that made you cry, the scene about Sonny, when Sonny gets killed. But I thought about it more. I said, you know what, really? It's not really a scene that makes you cry. It's more of was like, damn, they did him dirty like that. I mean, for some people, it does produce a tear.
Well,
but
it falls under Jimmy Ace's category because when he originally presented that to us, he said movies scenes that make you cry or make you turn away, like you couldn't watch.
Yeah.
So that would fall more so turn away, like, oh man, I can't watch this again.
But see, even that one, because The Godfather was on about a week ago, and I was sitting and watch. I watched it to that part, and I was like, the way I equivalent to like The Untouchables when Sean Connery gets killed. It's like, damn, they did him like that. But it wasn't like, oh my God, it's so sad that I'm on the verge of tears. I was just shocked, but not, like Star Trek 2. It's like, damn, you crying,
Yeah.
Tony Stark dying. Yeah. And actually,
definitely.
Tony Stark dying isn't what made you cry. It's the service that made you cry. The service with the music, and you seeing it's all the Avengers and all the people that protected, that saved the Earth. That's what got you. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
That's when you knew it was real, that he was really gone.
Yeah. I mean, it was people when I remember in the theater when I was watching that, there were people crying during the scene where everybody was getting dusted in Infinity War.
Oh yeah.
There were people straight falling, crying, like, oh no.
When Spider-Man went, they're
like, wait. I mean, when I heard a lot of gasps when Black Panther went, like they didn't expect that. Yeah. He's like, oh, come on. He tries to help up, but then They're like, oh
and
no.
and the sound like, you know, it's like that's
And
what
then
got you.
when Groot went, that was
Yeah.
sad, man. That was sad. They were like, oh man, yeah. So it was really that
That was
they.
now that's the set. That's the part. Like I said, I think we should one about order reaction. That's the part you was like, damn, and everybody is like, you said, damn. But Stark dying made you just cry
Yeah, that was
because
sad.
and it's because and this is why I think it's the difference between Stark's character and Sonny in The Godfather. You're not as invested at that point when he dies because really it's like in I think the first hour and a half of the movie.
Well, you're
No, I
not
think
invested in that character because he is he's a great supporting character, secondary character, but he kind of only you're just more disappointed because you feel like he he brought the action to it, you know what I mean, because you didn't know what he was going to do. You didn't know if he was going what he was going to do. So him being taken out the equation is like, oh man, no more Sonny.
exactly.
You know what I mean? But
It's
no,
not.
but Stark,
It's
you're
not
like
like
Stark was there. The reason why I made it so intense because he was there from day one. He was there from the first film 10 years ago, the first film for the MCU, not the MCU, but yeah, for the basically started the MCU, the Infinity War saga. And he popped in and out a lot of the films too. He was that major baseline. So for Stark to die, it actually was the best way to go with it if they were going to do it, because I remember everybody was just trying to figure out who's going to die, Cap or but everyone figured it might be Cap because of the way he is, his heroics. He would put himself on, but that even takes you all the way back to Avengers, where he said when they had that
he says I just pulled the wire.
Yeah, I just cut the wire. He's like, you wouldn't jump on the wire. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. He's like, you don't know what it is to jump on a wire or whatever. So before it explodes, to save everyone else. And he's like, I probably just cut the wire. You know what I'm saying? And he's just like, yeah. So that's that whole thing. But that's really what he did. He jumped on the grenade.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He sacrificed himself to save everyone else.
And it's the second time
world.
he did it. Second time he did it. First time he got lucky and then he didn't die. But the second time, his luck just ran out. You know, and I think it hurt more because he wasn't he was married with a kid. So now he had more to lose, but he still said no, it's a bigger issue than me.
Yeah.
You know,
that was the second time he basically did it in that movie, because he did it in Avengers too as well. He did it in Avengers when he took that nuke, right? Just as you're talking about, right?
That was the first time when he took the nuke into space.
Yeah. Right.
Because there was no guarantee that they would, as soon as he went and when he took the into space, the nuke into space, and now it was out of the Earth's atmosphere. There was no guarantee they weren't going to close that hole right then and
They
there.
were supposed to. They waited.
They waited.
To close
they
it.
waited to the last second.
They were supposed to close it. Yeah. If it would have went according to the original plan, they would have closed it, and he would have been out there in space, and he would have died. So that's what it was. And then and also when he left Earth again in Infinity War, I mean, it wasn't automatic. It wasn't like right away, but you knew. That's why he even said to Parker, "This is a one-way ticket, man. This isn't no,
I'm not coming back." He said, "I'm not coming back."
He said, "Yeah, this is a one-way ticket, man." He said it to Pepper. He prepared Pepper. He's like, "Yeah, not gonna." Yeah, she's like,
he said, "I'm sorry.
Tell me you're not on that. Tell me you're not on that ship." He was like, "I'm sorry," and then they just cut out. There was just the realness behind that as well, where it's like, even his technology at that point wasn't even gonna work anymore because he was too far away from the Earth.
Yeah,
he was too far away from the planet, or too far away from the source. So I mean, I have a lot of those too. I have a lot of moments with those type of moments, but we'll tackle that next week.
I got to go back because I sent you what I thought was my top 5. I had to change that because there was a few things that I forgot about that, and even with my this 30 that I'm writing, like I said, I take the guy. There was one movie that I totally forgot about that dawned on me because I was watching something last night, and the guy that played the character in that movie was in the movie I'm thinking about was in this movie, and it's like, oh, I forgot about that part, and it is sad that there are certain movies that even if it's not the entire movie, that for whatever reason somebody, and I said that it's not always because somebody dies, it's because it could be the arc of the character, and they win, and you're like, oh damn, like not for nothing, and I'm taking this off, but I had said one on my list is The Color Purple, where the end silly.
That was very. It wasn't sad. It was happy, but it still made you cry because it was a very happy moment when.
But
the part where he was taking them away from each other, that part was sad.
That was sad, but I'm yanking that out because that's not the scene that you cry because sad. It's the part where Suge crashes into her father's church doing God trying to tell you something. That's the part that makes you cry.
Yeah.
Because she is shunned throughout that entire movie by her dad.
Mm-hmm.
And she's singing this song with her friends in the city, and she hears her father's church in the background. She said, I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
And she walks, and when she kicks in the door, and she tells that, he said even sinners can change. Even sinners have soul too.
Yep. See,
like
it
was like even now, I'm like, damn, because that just hit like damn.
Yeah.
And I'm really good. And that's the part that really, because you kind of sort of saw the silly thing coming when she found the letters, but that part you never really saw that her father would welcome her back, and not only into the church but into his life, and in the way that it did of her singing a song, the church song. Damn.
God is trying to tell you something.
God trying to tell you something.
With that being in mind, was on. It's on my list too. Same type of feel, but in the 5 Heartbeats when he sees Eddie Kane Jr. singing, I feel like going on, and not only that, he has Baby Doll right there next to him, who no one knew the fate of her after that. No one knew that because they knew that
after
she left
he was
him.
shot.
And that was it. And after they heard about him being shot, I thought it was brilliant the way Robert Townsend did it, because you just heard it on a radio, like you didn't actually see it happen. I think it's even worse that you heard it on the radio, because now it's like, oh, he's out, and it made it even that much cooler of a reveal at the end. But that part, when you see that, you're like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
You just saw that hand. Because you just saw that hand, the choir raise. You saw that hand coming to grab the mic, and you're like, "Who's that?" And then they fade back to you see that
voice.
It's
When you hear his voice, I'm like, "What?" It's like you heard the way he shot it was like how the character experienced it. Like you don't see nothing, but you hear that voice. That voice is so distinct. You knew it. What? And he's looking up like, "What?" And then next thing you know, you see him singing. And he's like, "Wow." So I'm just like, now that was
even the end when they all get back up there, and he says, "You sure you want to hang with old Eddie Kane?"
Yeah.
And what's his name? Church says,
"Yeah,
come on up here." And then you see the wife you see everybody's wives looking at Eddie Kane like, "We know what you did, man, but we forgive you." We forgive you.
Exactly.
Man, that was
good, man.
That was
good.
Yo, man, I keep saying Robert Townsend don't get enough credit for the 5 Heartbeats. He really don't.
Man. There was moments in that film, multiple moments that had my heart, because that scene, the scene where they're after Jimmy dies,
mm-hmm.
Dad has Jimmy killed, and they that intense scene where Dresser comes and he starts beating on Eddie because he felt
He
Eddie.
knew what was up. He knew what was up.
And they're all sitting there crying and hugging, and it's just like, I was like, wow, it was some intense sequences in there, man. And it was something else, man. That was something else. So there's a lot, though. I mean, I got a lot of them too, man. The Champ, oh man, the Champ.
Yeah, I got some stuff. I tried to keep it more to like 60s and up, and not go further back. I was because I figured the audience, the people we talking would have seen these,
Yeah.
But like I said, one came up last night that I said, you know what, I forgot about that sequence in this movie, and it strikes to the kid in us. So that one I'm gonna. And it was sad. It was sad. It's like, damn. And listen, something sad when you see like it's an anime movie. You see an animated movie and the little kids in there are crying. It's like, wow. That
Oh yeah,
that's
well, there's a
worse.
couple animated movies. I mean, I said Charlotte's Web is in there,
Yeah.
and
Bambi.
freaking Bambi, and for me, definitely the Transformers. The Death of Optimus Prime is probably in my top 5. The
Messes
Death
you
of
up.
Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
What?
He was like, nah. He's the one guy that can't die.
Yeah, Optimus Prime.
Like you really didn't care too much about Megatron catching it.
No.
You kind of saw like somewhere he was going to catch it, but
That,
Optimus.
I mean, and through the whole film, there was classic Transformers that were dying in that film, and I'm like, but the Death of Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
What in the hell? Remember, we talked about that. We'll talk about it more like next time. Remember, Hasbro and him was like, "What the hell did we do?
What were you thinking?
What were we thinking? Why would we kill Optimus?"
That's like killing off He-Man. Like, no.
And let Men at Arms or whatever his name, Man at Arms, is now the leader. Like, wait a minute, what happened?
Even in I don't know if you ever saw the G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, I remember that.
Not the live action, but the cartoon. When they killed off Duke.
Right, but they actually didn't kill Duke. He actually didn't die.
He died. He didn't die.
He didn't die. But I was just like, they didn't. I was expecting him to actually die, and he didn't. But in the movie, they killed him, which was interesting.
Yeah, in the movie they wiped him out. I was like, damn. But in the animated cartoon, he was injured, but the last thing he said was Yo Joe, and it faded out. You're like, damn, he died, but then he didn't die. But like him, and some of the other main characters in G.I. Joe, those are the ones that you don't expect. You always expect the villains to catch it in the end, finally.
But
like Cobra
Optimus
Commander,
Prime.
you expected him to really get his in the end, but the good guy,
Optimus Prime, bro. Optimus
like
Prime.
I said, Han Solo. You don't expect to see Han Solo die.
That was rough. That was rough to see, man.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, what?
How you gonna kill him? You killing Solo?
Oh my god! And how he went too, by the hand of his own.
The look on his face, he's like,
yeah. Oh,
it's like, damn, you doing? It's like that. Yo, it's cutthroat.
That was cutthroat.
Cutthroat.
Which is why we'll talk about this too. Where people were saying one of the mistakes we can put that part as the same show. What death of a main character or any character was a mistake? Shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a good one because Prime is definitely probably number one. And another thing I'm gonna say is Ghost from Power. I think that was a mistake to kill him especially in the fashion that they did it. But that's just my opinion.
The character that Sean Bean played in Game of Thrones. I mean, they killed him on, I think, episode 2. He was the lead of the show, and they wiped him off in episode like damn.
Well, yeah, that became a thing with Game of Thrones. People were just like, don't get too comfortable with characters because they will go. But yeah, I want to talk. That's a good thing to think about. Which one of these?
I got another one.
Was a mistake.
Adrian in The Sopranos.
The
Sopranos. The way they killed her, I was like,
Adriana, yeah, that was cool. Oh
man.
But bro, after a whole season, you knew that was gonna come. No, it had to. There was no way out of that.
But see, this is the thing with Adriana, because she was loved, not liked.
No,
loved by
I
Tony.
actually don't like. I don't like the way Chris went out. That I didn't like. I thought that was that was grimy.
Tony killed him.
That was grimy, yo.
Yeah, it was.
The way he did it too was grimy.
He held his nose. He held his nose.
Yo, and I know Chris was a pain in the neck, but and that's because Tony that was messing with him for years, for a long time after they did that movie, and he was like, "Oh, is this how you see me?" So what you're saying is in the back of your mind and your subconscious, you want me dead.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like what he said, and he just let that get to him. And then at that moment, it's just like that was the best opportunity for him to do it.
It's probably gonna be his only.
Right. It probably his only opportunity to do it without him having to actually put the hit on him.
Yeah. Because he wanted to. You remember a couple episodes. Remember he took him out there into the field. He was going to kill him then.
Yeah.
He was going to, after he thought that when Chris thought that he slept with his girl, he was going to kill him then. And his cousin talked him out of it.
Yeah.
You know? But Chris had to go. But Adriana, man, only because she was loved by Tony and his family. And anybody could have caught a break. It would have been her.
To the point where her essence went on through the whole end of the series, because remember Carmela was thinking,
was obsessed with it.
Her,
like, where is she?
He saw her in the and then remember he that episode where he started seeing all the people that died and stuff like that, and it was just that's what, like you said, you were dead on with that. The Sopranos took it to
Big Pussy was different because Big Pussy got discovered that he was ratting on him, whereas Adriana came forward and said, "This is what's happening." She really didn't have to tell them that she told them what happened, but she didn't have to get into details about what happened. But like, I found out that this woman that's been covering us really is an undercover.
The problem with Adriana is she didn't come to them. She didn't come clean quick enough. She let too much happen after she even knew that
she found out. She kept letting it go.
She let too much go. Had she approached, I don't know if they still would have killed her anyway, but maybe, just maybe, because that's why they didn't kill Chris, because as soon as Chris found out, he came to Tony.
Yeah.
He just found out and he went to Tony that day. You know what I'm saying?
He choked her out and left and told Tony what the hell happened.
Told Tony what happened. And that's what it was. And Chris knew at that point, I gotta make the sacrifice, and she's gotta go. You know what I mean?
But man, the whole thing, they took her down South Jersey, and he gets off like, "I gotta go take a leak," and he gets her out the car, and she just crawls off, and you just see the gun. You don't even hear the shot; you just heard the gun. At first, you're like, did he really kill her or not? Did he let her go?
Oh, yeah, he killed her, man. He was gonna do it. That dude didn't play. Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, we'll talk those scenes next week. That should be a good show. And we'll get some more stuff. Eventually we'll do a part 2, meaning like getting some more actors talking about some of that stuff, but it won't be next week. But and I'm trying to reach out to like people who play like horror films, like Felissa Rose, and maybe I'll even get back at Diane Franklin, even though she wasn't the killer in the film, but she played in the Amityville. That was based on real shit. She did it twice, based on real stuff. And is that some shit that stays with you? Is what I want to know. You know what I mean?
Not that part, but the part where she was raped by her brother. Like,
yeah, damn.
Like, damn, how do I prepare for this part? This piece.
For that?
What homework do I need?
I'm gonna hit her up tonight. Hopefully, we can get her on, and we'll do a part 2, bringing her back. We'll do a part 2. I can get her and Felissa Rose on the same show. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. So we'll go from there. That's it. We're done, people. Right, thanks folks, for hanging out with us. Hanging in there with us. Y'all have a good night. As we always say, you can love us, you can hate us, but Don't you forget about us. I'll have to sing it myself, right? So they don't play it.
Told you we gotta find a karaoke. Somebody do a karaoke.
Yeah.
And have
All
them.
right, y'all. Peace out. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining.